All right, hold on 1 second, brother. Let me get this paperwork together. All right. Let me bring that out. Okay, brother. How you be, man?
Fine, sir.
All right. All right. So just to let everybody know that's going to be watching this is the Let's Talk, the Better Black Life podcast. And we got a lot to get to today, brother. We got a lot of ground to cover. So we got a special guest coming on later on. He had to go. He had some family business he had to take care of. But he'll be back in a little while to discuss our lead topic. So let's see what's coming up. Coming up, we got news. We got the hit parade. We got deadly women. We got the Black History Minute, your money, and a few other little knickknacks. So we ain't gonna give the whole thing away, but that's what we got. So let's just jump right into it because we're starting kind of late. Unfortunately, brother DMX passed away at 50, man. What do you think about that, brother Jarvis?
The brother will be missed. You know, extremely talented. At one time, he had the world by the tail.
True.
It's hard to really pigeon-toe or tell what really why. Why'd you go this route? Yeah, at one time, he had everything. He had movie deals. He had a lucrative record contract.
Man,
He had it all.
Had it all.
And it seemed that way on the outside. So, sometimes I believe that a lot of times we don't know how blessed we are with just what you got. Just be happy with what you got. What you think is happiness most times really isn't.
Yes, sir.
It seemed like brother was on the outside. He didn't seem very happy. Anytime you keep turning to drugs, you're not a happy person.
Yeah, man.
Drugs, I guess, like liquor. I guess you're trying to forget it.
It looked like to me he was struggling, man. You know what I mean? He was a good-hearted brother, man. You know what I mean? He didn't want to be doing the things he was doing, but the cocaine had him, man. You know what I mean? And he wasn't able to detach himself from that mentality that he needed to do that. You know what I mean? So he unfortunately was caught in that, man, in the struggle. He didn't want to be a guy that didn't see his children. He didn't want to be a guy that let his wife down. He didn't want to be that guy. That's why you saw him struggling so bad, man. But only thing that gave him peace was that, the cocaine, I guess, for a second gave him a little peace, But anyway, man, his story is a real sad story, man. You know what I mean? Because and really, it's more like that's how our entertainers usually end up, man. A lot of them end up like that, you know what I mean? Like they just feel like unloved at the end, man, and broke. You know what I mean? Now him in his situation, one thing caused him to be broken, that because he would not suit up when he was intimate with a woman. He would not do it. And so he had 15 children running after him for child support. And, I mean, that would bankrupt anybody, a la Sean Kemp, you know what I mean, and others. They just killed him in child support. And it's hard. I don't care how much money you're making. you know, these women are going to go after you in relationship to how much money you're making, not to what they need, not to what's necessary to raise a child. They're going to go after you in relationship to,
Right.
the amount of money you're making. So, and it's all legal. It's all legal, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, man,
Unfortunately.
yeah, and you know about that, man. So, hopefully, man, a lot of brothers, a lot of those entertainers out there that's running around, you know, making it cool to be a drug addict and stuff. I hope they could take a lesson from this brother's eventual end and just see that it wasn't all what it was cracked up to be, like you said, man. Any other comments about Brother DMX, man? Hopefully he rests in peace, man. His family will sort out the mess and everything. But you got any other comments about that one, man?
Nah, I mean, if there's any mess, I mean, hopefully he kept whatever demons to himself.
Well,
But I guess it's impossible when
yeah,
you're in that way to keep all that to yourself. But I never met the man, so I really don't know who or what he is. And I tried my best not to judge brothers of what the press tell me about, especially black men or women. Ever judge us off of that, of what they say, who we are. So, but may he rest in peace, because we all
yeah,
got demons,
yeah, for
So
sure,
we
man.
all,
We all fighting them, battling them.
we all
Which
got
one
something.
you kick one off, there's another one coming right at you, man. So you know what I mean. It's you never know. You ain't got
Yeah,
no
we all
time.
got a vice.
Yeah, you ain't never got no time where it's just it's easy money. You gonna always be fighting something out here. So
Right.
so we don't think no less of the brother, man. We just wish that he would have been able to pull himself up out of it, man. And it's unfortunate for himself and his family that he wasn't, but really for him, man, because I could just see he was struggling, man. Because I've been there in addiction, man. It is just not a good place to be, man. You can't. Nobody can tell you that you're going through that. You think everything is cool. You know what I mean? Just bad, man. But anyway, man, let's move
Right.
on,
Well,
man. Oh, go ahead, sir. Go ahead, bro.
no, I was gonna say the most unfortunate thing is he couldn't turn all that was given to him into something. I keep hearing the term, well, generational wealth. They was offering him $40 million just to make 2 or 3 movies, but he
Yeah,
couldn't get past one. And it's like, oh man, because it wasn't dependable.
yeah.
You show up high or you show up drunk. You couldn't
Or don't
turn that
show up.
money for. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything against 15 children as long as you can take care of them. $40 million, you can take care of 15 children.
You can't take care of.
And that was
If
just
you're
a
on the
movie deal.
road,
We ain't talking about the record
if you're on the road, man, you're not gonna be. If you're living like he was living, man, you're not gonna be taking care of no 15 children, man. No way, man. He was a loose cannon, man. He just was. You know what I mean? You can look at somebody and see if they're responsible. Well, us as older men, we can look at somebody and see if they're responsible. Just watching them move. But this guy was not responsible. I mean, I'm not saying he was a bad guy. He just, the drugs had him, man. He just wasn't able to be his full self. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure if he was able to be his full self, he would have took care of everything, or he would have put things in place to take care of this. But man, when those drugs have you, man, ouch, ouch.
deal. Yeah, like I'm saying, $40 million, and you can fly people in and out where you at or whatever you doing. It can be. I mean, $40 million, you can do a lot. You can take care
Yeah,
of 15 children.
yeah. I mean, if
It
you
was just sad.
spread it right,
Yeah, you know. I guess concerts at night. Most of you do is at night, so go in and out over the city. Then, if he was traveling the country back and forth, wherever your child is at, you stop in that city or you fly them in, something. You have a central house. I mean,
but when
it's
you,
just sad that he couldn't.
yeah, man. I mean, when you
He
spending
just couldn't. He was in his right mind.
5 or 10 grand on cocaine or whop, man, maybe doing that maybe twice a day or something. you just, I mean, you going
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And you could see the dude was struggling because he didn't want to be that guy, but he couldn't help himself, man. He just couldn't help himself. And anybody that came close to him to try to talk to him, man, them demons wouldn't let him get within 2 feet of him, man. So he was just
Yeah.
in a bad way, man. But like I said, we gonna
Yeah.
we hopefully the family, man, will sort out the mess, man, and everybody will be in a better place, you know, after settling his estate, man.
I don't know if there's anything to sort out. I mean, he doesn't have one, does he?
I
He
don't
filed
know.
bankruptcy. He has no
He
state.
filed bankruptcy a little while ago, so I don't
I
know
don't
if
either.
he had anything, I don't know. Maybe he might be like Iverson. He got some money put away, what I mean, and he just wasn't able to touch it. So who knows, you
I
know what I
hope
mean?
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, man, let's move on, man, because got a lot to cover. Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce quickly shared his reaction to getting fired at ESPN. For those of y'all that don't know, well, let me read the story. Former NBA star Paul Pierce was fired from his basketball analyst role with ESPN on Monday, according to front office sports confirmed by the Athletics' Richard Deitch. The firing came 3 days after Paul Pierce posted video of himself drinking and smoking with exotic dancers to his Instagram live, which led to a stream of misogynistic tweets about the jump and host Rachel Nichols. Though ESPN declined to comment on its decision to part ways with the 10-time NBA All-Star, Pierce was back on social media almost immediately after news of his firing went public. He posted a video of himself laughing to both Twitter and his Instagram story with the hashtag smile, including the clip. Big things coming soon, he wrote in a tweet. Pierce joined ESPN as an analyst for NBA Countdown and the jump shortly after his retirement in 2017. Ouch. Your boy got fired from ESPN and don't look like he's sweating it too much. I think Paul Pierce made about $100 million in his career. So, not. I'm thinking maybe he's gonna be okay. I'm thinking maybe he's gonna be
Yeah,
okay.
he'll be all right.
Yeah. I'm thinking he's gonna be
Yeah.
okay. So, it doesn't look like he's too worried about it. So, it looks like he's gonna be all right. But yeah, man, that's Paul Pierce, and I don't know, brother. What do you think? Do you think that was pretty smart of him to go out and post that pic of him doing that, working for ESPN?
I'm a little surprised being as old as he is to post something like that, but at the same time, he didn't commit a crime. So what did he get fired for? I
Well,
mean, they have this conduct clause,
right.
but what is unbecoming? What is unbecoming? I mean, like, right?
Well, you got most of these places have like you said a misconduct clause or clause for like if you make if you uh you do something that hits society the wrong way, they can discipline you for it or they can just let you go. And there's obviously clauses in the contract where they can do that in a heartbeat, man. You know what I mean? So uh I just think, well, I don't know, man. My opinion was, if it depends on what he wanted. If he wanted the job really bad, that wasn't a smart thing to do. If he was like him, where he probably got millions of dollars stacked up and he probably don't need to work nowhere, never again, and he really didn't want the job or he wasn't really concerned about it, what's the big deal? But now let me say
I think the bigger picture is go ahead.
let me say the big thing about it. The big thing is that you out there and you know uh filming something like that and showing these younger guys that you can do stuff like to do stuff like that. I feel like when we reckless with our thinking, man, because if you're not thinking about what you're doing and you're showing these young guys to go ahead and be reckless like that, they're gonna get caught up in other stuff. See, I ain't really worried about Paul Pierce. He's all right, man. He's all right. You know what I mean? He got enough money. He, you know, the little bit of money ESPN was paying him, that wasn't that's not gonna make or break him. You know what I mean? He was probably just sending his children to college with that money or whatever, right? So he wasn't really, living off that money. I'm sure he's got plenty of money. So, um, but the image that you send into these other young guys, they're gonna it's really kind of irresponsible to do that live. Now, if you're gonna do what you do, but don't shoot it live and then show it live. Don't do that. You know what I mean? That to me, because you're gonna have these young guys, they don't have that kind of cash getting caught up, and when they get fired, it's gonna be like their their whole career is down the drain. I want to be like Paul Pierce, but Paul Pierce is in a whole nother tax bracket to do something like that. Anyway, that's my feeling. What say you, Brother Jarvis?
I have a problem with this self righteousness. I don't I like the. I'm an old man. I don't like the Me Too. I don't like to. I mean, you do realize that. What do they call him? Was a womanizer. These old white men that played golf, quote unquote, back in the day, they chased women. Now it was no social media, it wasn't out
Right,
there, but it wasn't not unknown. I mean, this is
right,
not new that
right,
men like women,
right.
and it's silly to me. It's just silly to me that that's unbecoming. A
Uh,
man
yeah,
partying with a woman or a man enjoying himself with a woman, that's unbecoming.
yeah.
I mean, what do you want to see? A man with a man? A woman with
Um,
a woman? What do you want to see? What are you telling me? I mean,
I
he's
mean,
enjoying himself.
I understand that, but he can't be you can't do that when other people's money is when other people's money is on the line, man. You ain't gonna be able to do it. They're gonna get you. They already got the contract laid out and set up already. Now, what I'm saying is if you're gonna have fun, but don't film it, man. I don't know why these cats want to film themselves involved in stuff like this and then put it out. That's where I have the problem. I don't have no problem
I
with you
can't argue
having,
that.
huh?
No, I said I can't argue that. I don't understand that either.
I don't understand that, man. I mean, you want to have fun, have fun. You want to go to the VIP room and get a lap dance, whatever. Hey, you know what? I wouldn't advise it, but if that's what you want to do, that's how you want to party. That's how you want to party. I would not give nobody no money that I couldn't see a
Yeah.
return on my money. That's me personally. But most men are not like that. Most
Right.
men will say, "Hey, you know what? If I'm in this situation, I'm gonna just take advantage. I'm gonna not take advantage, but I'm going to go ahead and proceed all the way. Okay, do what you got to do, but don't film it, man, and then upload it to your social media. Your employer might be looking. I mean,
Yeah.
you just can't do that no more, man. You just can't. You in a and I
No.
know it's unfair, but we're just in a different We're in a different airspace today, in my opinion. You know what I mean? We're in a different we're in a different zip code today. So, like you
Yeah.
said, true movement and everything, man, they looking for the lowest hanging fruit, and they don't have to look far because men just give it to them. Man, we just give it to them, man. We just, I mean, everything they need to show how dumb we are. We just here you go, here you go. I'm not only am I going to a strip club, but I'm gonna go to a strip club, and I'm going me as the most highest paid person in here. I'm going to film myself, and then I'm going to load it up to my Instagram. I mean,
Yeah.
like they say, you can't make this stuff up, man. Just show how dumb we are as a group. You know what I mean? But anyway, man, that's Paul
Yeah. I
Pierce.
can't.
Um, let's move on, man. We got a lot to get to. Larsa Pippen. Are you familiar with Larsa Pippen?
I have no idea.
This is Scottie Pippen's ex-wife. You remember Scottie Pippen, right?
I
Six
remember him.
time,
I didn't even.
six-time champion. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was an ugly little end to his career, but yeah, I don't know if he still is, but he was a shooting coach for the Lakers, man. And so him and his wife was out here, and she found out that he was messing with I forgot who he was messing with. He was messing with some other woman on the road. This is a couple years ago. So she found out and she divorced him. And man, let me tell you, man, this chick hit the ground running, man. I mean, she's been in like 4 or 5 relationships since that time, man. I mean, ay ay ay. She hit the ground running. But let me read the story. Larsa Pippen ends romance with pro baller half her age, plus more splits of 2021. I ain't gonna go into all of that, but uh, let's see. Multiple media outlets reported that on April 6th, Larsa Pippen's controversial romance with Malik Beasley, who is nearly half her age, had come to an end. According to page 6 source, the duo spent Valentine's Day together and are still in communication, though they are no longer a couple. Said in U.S. Weekly source, Larsa decided to distance herself from the drama. What drama? I don't know. Okay. I think she's 46, so the guy's probably 20. He's half her age. He's 23. So what drama? He's just a young guy. When you're dating young guys, that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get
Yeah.
the wood, but you're gonna get all kind of different little kids issues with that. Um, he was going through a lot, and the timing wasn't right. Many people assumed their relationship was serious, when in fact it wasn't. Oh, so he was just banging the hell out of her. Nice job, Malik. Was Malik Beasley? Nice job. The 24-year-old professional basketball player has been duking it out with his estranged wife, model Montana Yale, in the press and in divorce court since he. Holy smokes! You're in divorce court at 23. Ay ay ay. He suddenly started seeing the 46-year-old mother of 4. Holy smokes! A mother of 4. Ay ay ay. Yeah, sounds like there's a real chance of romance there, Brother Jarvis. What do you think about that, man?
I don't know enough. Man, young man, older woman.
Well, what do
It's
you think is
cool.
going on
It's,
with a 46-year-old woman is dating a 23-year-old basketball player? What do you think is going on?
I
Think they're
would
going
hope
over
that
the Bible?
she, well, they're going where? Are they
What you
going
say?
where?
I said, do you think they're going over the Bible at night?
No, they might be on their knees, but the Bible ain't there. Or
Yeah.
if it's there, it's just sitting on the counter. But I mean, I her being an older woman, I would hope that she knows that she got to take him to school. It's good because an older woman can teach a young man,
Yeah, I
to
mean,
slow
that's what
down,
older women are for, right?
and really prepare him,
Yeah,
huh?
just I said that's what older women are for, to get your sex game right, right? They tighten you up on the
Yeah, yeah, that's what. Yeah,
right. Okay.
yeah, yeah. An older woman can teach a young man, what to do, and really she'll get him ready for a woman that's around his age or a woman that's younger. Because when you're 23 and you're in your 20s, you don't know what you want. You don't even know what you like.
Yeah.
And one thing that older woman will do, she'll school you and help you. She'll teach you on what you like.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what you like at 23.
No.
You think you like anything, but you don't.
Yeah.
You think your body, oh, I like that. I'll do it. No, what you like and what your body likes sometimes can be two different things.
Yeah.
That's why with some women it's good, and with some women it's all right. You're like, man, what's wrong? No, it ain't the woman. you don't know what you like.
Yeah.
Because you're in your 20s, you don't know.
Yeah.
But that older woman, that's what she's for. She can teach you what you like, what to do, and when to do it, when to speed up and when to slow down.
Yeah.
That part she's good for. I
Yeah.
mean, she can do that. But
Yeah.
other than that, and school you on what a woman likes. That's another thing an older woman is good for. She'll tell you what a woman likes,
Right.
and what to do, and and sometimes she can school you on when to shut up. Sometimes it's better to just shut up. Because
Yeah.
when you're a young man, you think you can out talk a woman. No, you can't. Just shut
Yeah.
up. Let her talk. Even if you're an
Yeah.
older man, let her do all the talking. Because you can't reason with her. Just shut up.
Yeah.
So she's good for that. But as far as anything romantic, no. I mean, she know that though.
Yeah. Oh
Her
yeah.
thing is to let him know don't fall in love. You know,
She's not looking for nothing romantic. No, this lady,
I
I
hope
don't think.
not. No,
Oh man, no, no. I think she was just, she,
no.
like I said, man, she just hit the ground running, man. She's like a third or fourth relationship with NBA players, man. I mean, she making up for lost time, man.
Yeah. Well,
Ay, yeah, ay.
right, and hopefully she's letting him know don't fall in love. And
Oh
that's
yeah,
another
yeah,
thing
yeah.
I take him to school too.
She'll tell them that,
Just
hey,
because
look,
you're with the woman, when you, yeah,
yeah, just put the work in, man. You know what I mean? And that's lovely, right?
yeah,
She get in her own car and
yeah,
leave. That's beautiful. Take that.
yes,
You know
yes,
what I mean?
yes,
Just, I mean, when she get
yes,
done, she'll move on. Let her go. You know what I mean? Just, she like
right, right,
a new bike, man. When she get a flat tire, put her to the side. You know what I mean?
right,
She'll leave on her own though. That's the
right,
good thing about older women,
right. And
man.
an older,
She ain't gonna let you get attached to her. So yeah, that's good.
no, no, and it's really good for him. And one thing
Yeah,
about an
that's
older
grand.
woman, don't call me, I'll call
I
you,
call
and
you.
that's how it should be.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, don't call me, I'll call you.
Yeah, I'll come looking
And
for
that'll
you.
school him on. You know what? I'm gonna start treating them all like that.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna call you when you're ready. Just call me. It keeps down arguments. It keeps down confusion. Because when you young, you think, where's she at? What's she doing?
Yeah.
No, no, no. You don't
Crazy.
want to know. If you knew everything
Crazy.
she was doing, you'd be in a fight.
Ooh. Ouch. Ouch. Yeah, you don't want to know where that mouth
Because
spin.
a lot of young men, yeah, a lot of young men surprise me on the jealousy that I see. I'm like, wow. And you don't want to know everything she's doing. You don't want to know.
Well,
You
that's just
don't.
a
She gets hit on every day.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's ugly, man. It's ugly.
So yeah, and social media has broken up so many relationships. Oh man.
Yeah, yeah. You know what?
Sometimes you're reading into something that ain't even there.
I always call Facebook the devil, man, because it just gives people opportunity to promote or put themselves in bad situations, man. And it's just, you know what I mean? Once it's there in black and white and it's on paper, man, you can't get it back, man. You know what I mean? It's there forever.
Yeah,
Anybody can go in
yeah.
there and
Even
get it.
when it ain't. Yeah, even when it ain't there.
Well, I mean, people can interpret it the way they want to or whatever, you know what I mean? But I think that,
That's exactly what I mean.
but this dude right here, this Malik Beasley, man, he in this situation, he should have, in my opinion, he should have got his everything straight with his wife first. That wouldn't have been on his mind when he would have been plowing through this lady. He'd have plowed through her and he would have been able to, put her on a little leash. But because he's going through what he's going through, this girl is just looking for wood, man. So she's like, I ain't got time to sit around and wait for you to go through that so that your mind can be ready. If your mind ain't ready, next, I'm gonna go find the next person. And but
Right,
man, she is
right,
he is making her.
right.
Can you hear me?
Right. And the thing is, yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah. The thing is too, him going through a divorce, him being with that older really should have helped him. I mean, that really should have helped them. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and let you go and do your thing.
Yeah.
You know, I ain't worried about what you're doing, where you go. You know, just go ahead and let her do.
She,
It'll go through a lot smoother. That's
yeah,
another thing she could have schooled him on.
she cleaned Scottie Pippen out. So definitely she could have schooled him on a divorce, man.
Oh
Because
wow.
ooh, man, she wiped the floor with Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
Ay ay ay. She not only wiped the floor with him, but
I
she
didn't
went
know
out and
that.
started. She went out and started banging his coworkers, man. I mean, ay ay ay. How would you like to have that going on, brother Jarvis? Your ex-wife goes out. Not only does she clean you out, but she she goes out and she starts banging your coworkers, man. Holy smokes. But
Terrible.
anyway, man, like I say, man, that's if you out there, watch out for her, Larsa Pippen. She is not taking no prisoners, man, and she is just, whew, she is like Ali, floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee, man. She is out there. So watch out, watch yourself, the NBA players, your NFL players. Watch yourself for Scottie Pippen's ex-wife because she is definitely going to be at the places you're at to try to slip up into you, and will slip you how you slip into her. Well, she's not a bad looking lady, so watch yourself. Be careful. All right, brother, we're gonna move on, man, because we got a lot to get to. Lone survivor of mass shooting tied to NFL player dies. Ooh, ouch. I don't know if you heard this story, man. The brother that used to play for the I think he used to play for the Cardinals. He played for the Saints, I think. No, the Falcons, I believe. Anyway, let me read the story. A sole survivor of a mass shooting in South Carolina linked to a former NFL player died Saturday, officials say. Associated Press reported that 38-year-old Robert Shook died Saturday after spending roughly 2 days fighting for his life in Charlotte, North Carolina area hospital. Police said that former NFL player Philip Adams shot 6 people at the home of prominent physician Robert Leslie on Thursday, with one person briefed on the investigation telling the news service that Adams was formerly treated by Leslie. A motive has not been announced. 5 people died at the scene, including Leslie and 2 grandchildren under the age of 10. Adams later died from suicide, authorities said. Adams played in nearly 80 professional football games over his career, and the AP reports that his brain will be investigated to see if it shows evidence of a degenerative disease linked to concussions called chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Adams suffered 2 concussions over a 3-game period in 2012, the AP reported. Adams' agent, Scott Casterline, told AP that his client must not have been in his right mind when the shooting occurred. This is so unlike him. He had to not be in his right mind. Obviously, Casterline said after the shooting Thursday. We encouraged him to explore all of his disability options, and he would not do it. Castelline added, I knew he was hurting and missed football, but he wouldn't take health tips offered to him. He said he wouldn't, but he would. He said he would, but he wouldn't. Are you familiar with this story, brother?
No idea. No.
Okay, I think this brother played for, I think the Falcons, and his last team he played for, I think, and he was down in South Carolina, man, and this doctor lived like down the street from his parents, and he went down there to the doctor's house. He killed the doctor. He killed his wife. He killed the grandchildren that was there visiting. 2 of the grandchildren that were there visiting. Uh, there was a guy. There was some workers working on the house. Uh, some air conditioning guys working on the house. He killed one, and the one guy survived, but he just died. Now they're saying he died. That guy passed away. They were going to ask him, well, what happened? You know, I mean, what happened? But this guy never came back, so he's gone. So, and then he killed himself. The football player, he killed himself. So all these people he killed were white. He's a black dude, the football player, and it was a sad story, man. It was a sad, man, because you're not seeing why he did what he did. He just went out there and did it, and you're like, what happened? Why would you do something like that? But he went and did it you don't know. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just a crazy story, man.
I
But he
don't
just
either.
shot up everybody, man. You know what I mean? It was just crazy, man.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't either. Maybe it is something to those concussions that with football players. I don't know what part of the brain. I guess the reasoning, the logical part, which is the right side of the brain, the male part. I guess it somehow affects that part, and they kind of lose it. Like their head gets banged so many times.
Yeah,
Although I love the game of football myself. I grew up, playing it, and my son, two of my three sons played it, and I know that's in it. Everybody's not built for it though,
no,
so you have to be somewhat built for it too. It has some heart, but there's a lot of good lessons in it. You grew up playing ball. You do kind of grow up like really feeling like ain't too much more that I can't conquer. Because if you can go through that, you know,
yeah,
you can do a whole lot.
yeah, man.
So, but I say the
Yeah,
same thing about baseball and basketball too, meaning that basketball takes a lot from you too. Baseball is more skilled, but anytime you can excel at sports, there's so many lessons in there. So
yeah, but football, man, I mean, it's basically like a train hitting you, for 4 downs straight. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? So it's gonna have a player. It's gonna do something to your brain, man. You get hit that hard. It's like as you said, this ain't Pop Warner, man. This is 300-pound human beings coming at you, hitting you full speed. Every down. That's gonna take a lot out of any man. You know what I mean? Out of anybody, and especially if
it can, but
I mean,
everybody doesn't walk away like that.
yeah, I know, but it just depends. But a lot of them cats do have issues afterwards, and
I don't know about a lot. I'm just gonna say a small percentage because what about Bison Daly? He played basketball and he would just disappear. Kind of crazy too. But I mean, it could be the human being. Like I said, I don't want to give. Well,
it
I can't give
should.
football a bad name, but
Yeah,
you know, but
I don't have a
I
name.
it builds up. It builds up the body, and like I said, most people that walk away from it, if you look at 90% of the players, you gonna walk away with some kind of injury. Hell, that's anything.
That's what I'm saying. I
Basketball.
mean,
Who
if
doesn't
you
walk
running,
away with a knee
if
injury?
you, that's what I'm saying. I mean, but I'm saying as far as the head collisions, because I mean, if you have to wear a helmet, then there's a reason why you got to wear a helmet. They're trying to protect your head. But even with the head protection,
Yeah,
there's going to be issues where, I mean, I mean, if a 300-pound dude is running, who can run a 4.4, is running at you full speed and he hits you, I mean, you're lucky you can get back up on the same game, man, the same day, right? The average person get hit like that, man.
yeah.
They don't know how to take that hit. They don't know how to fall. They don't know how to hit the ground. They don't know how to roll. They're gone. That's it. And so I'm saying, I'm just looking at the math of it. The math is just like you said, basketball. I mean, if you're running, you're doing 200-mile-an-hour wind sprints up and down the court. You do 10 years of that. I mean, of course, you're gonna have knee issues, uh, hip issues. You're gonna have stuff. You're gonna have issues. And you ain't even getting hit like a football player. I mean, they get hit all over the place, but especially in the head. I just think, man, the Pope brother, man, had some issues, man. And he probably had issues before this all happened. So, I
Yeah.
mean, well, it's just a sad situation, man. You know what I mean? Let's move on down the line, man, because we got a lot to get to. Actor Zach Avery, I don't know this actor, man, but arrested for allegedly running a multi-million-dollar Ponzi scheme. Actor Zach Horowitz, best known under his stage name as Zach Avery, was arrested Tuesday in Los Angeles in connection with a massive Hollywood Ponzi scheme, which federal employees alleged defrauded investors out of more than $227 million. Ay, ay, ay. Avery is accused of fabricating licensing deals with Netflix, HBO, as well as other platforms in order to secure funding for his film distribution company, One in MM Capital LLC, according to the FBI. Ooh, the feds was after you. Oh no! Do you know that the feds they don't arrest you, brother, unless they got you? They got the lid is they got the nails for the coffin. You know what I'm saying? They don't. The feds don't come and
Yeah.
get you unless they got. Yeah, they do not come and get you unless they got the nails for the coffin, bro. So that's a done deal. See, in a sworn affidavit filed in LA federal court, FBI agent John Verastro said that Avery then used the funds for personal benefit and to make payments to previous investors in style of a classic Ponzi scheme. Avery founded the LA-based One in MM Capital LLC in 2013, claiming to distribute English films to Latin market through partnerships with HBO and Netflix. The FBI said in 2015 he allegedly sent investors bottles of Johnny Walker Blue Label Scotch, along with an annual report that said the company had acquired and successfully distributed 49 films through the One in MM Capital banner without incurring a single loss in the process. Uh, yeah, this dude is Avery is facing fraud charges. He appeared in court on Tuesday via teleconference. Yeah, this dude is gone, man. This dude is a done deal, man. Yeah, the feds don't come and get you unless they got you wrapped tight. They got you wrapped tight. Anything to say about that, brother Jarvis?
Nah, I ain't nothing that. That's
Yeah, I don't
done.
even know. I don't even know that. I don't even know that guy either, man. I don't even know that guy.
Yeah, me
Um.
either.
Let's see. Let's do the hit parade, man. Hit parade. I think brother Terrell is here. Brother Terrell, can you hear us? Can you hear brother Terrell? Are you there? Oh, okay, I'll bring him back after I can hear him. I think I can hear. Let me text him now. Let's do the hit parade real quick. Oh, no, you know what? We gotta do deadly women. Then we do that. I do deadly women. Woman. Let's see. Well, I can bring the brother in. I'll try to see if he can talk. Can you hear us, brother Terrell? No, he can't hear us. Anyway, woman lays out in horrific detail the torture and murder of her sister's boyfriend, or her sister's boyfriend, in incest plot. Anne Marie Coderi pleaded guilty to second degree murder in John McGuire's grisly 2019 death at her hands. Her sister Amanda McClure and their biological father Larry McClure. A North Carolina woman pled guilty to second degree murder in an incest related plot to kill her sister's boyfriend, revealing to a judge disturbing new details about the Valentine's Day crime. Anna Marie Cordy, 33, described in detail Wednesday how her family, including her sister Amanda McClure, 31, and father Larry McClure, tortured and killed Amanda's boyfriend, 38-year-old John McClure, in 2019. McClure and Amanda had been living in Minnesota, where they decided to move into Larry's home in Sky Gusty, West Virginia. Cudahy said the couple had been coming off meth pretty hard, ouch, around the time they made the move, according to Bluefield Daily Telegraph's account of her testimony, which was delivered via teleconference. Car we were driving along broke down in Indiana, so she said that her father agreed to pick up the couple there. Hold on, brother Jarvis, because brothers texting me. So let me see what's happening. Uh,
Yes, sir.
let me see. Let me do this real quick, man. Let's see. Oop, 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 oop. Okay. Let's see here. Let's do the avatar. Okay, done. Okay, so let's all right.
Can you hear me?
Can I hear who? Who's that talking? Brother Terrell? No, we still can't hear you, man. Well, I
Hello?
can hear something. Brother Jarvis, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I got you loud and clear.
Hello?
Brother Terrell. Brother Terrell, can you hear us?
Hello?
Yes, sir. Can you hear us? I think it's something on your side, brother. It's something you got to edit on your side. Because I could hear you the last time you were on, but I can't hear you this time. Oh, okay. I guess you'll check back in, man. All right, man. So anyway, I was finishing the story about the lady. Um, but basically, oh man, they injected the brother with some battery acid. Oh no, bad meth. Oh man, ooh, cooked him, man. Oh man,
He the father or the boyfriend? Or
the
both?
boy. Well, they see the thing is, the father wanted to be with the sister. This is such a crazy story. The father wanted to be with the sister, and in a romantic relationship, right? But the sister had a boyfriend, and he wasn't having it. So they killed him so that the father and the sister could be together. I know, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. But
Wow.
that's basically what happened, man. But trusting his girlfriend, he went over there, and that's why, man. That's why, man. You gotta. I don't care how many years it's been, man. You gotta verify everybody, man.
Yeah.
Terrell, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
All right, all right. Yes, sir. We can hear you. Brother Jarvis, this is Brother Terrell. It's the
Nice to
brother I
meet
was
you.
talking about, man.
How you doing, sir?
You know, good young brother, man. He's gonna come on and talk. And we're getting there, Brother Terrell. We're almost there, brother. We're almost there. Uh let's go on through the hit parade because I tell you what I'm gonna do, man. What I'm gonna do, since we got Brother Terrell here and he has to run, man. Let me do the Black History Minute and then we'll come back for everything else. And we'll get right into it. And we'll come back for everything else. Okay. Uh Well, we do the Black History Minute, then we do the sneaking the movies, and then because we could talk about everybody saw 21 Bridges, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do that after this.
Yes, sir.
The Black History Minute, talking about the very revolutionary Fred Hampton. Fred Hampton was born in August 30th, 1948 in Summit, Illinois. He was assassinated. He died. He was assassinated by a government task force on December 4th, 1969. He was only 21 years old in Chicago, Illinois. Well, Brother Terrell, you too young to remember this story, but the Poe brother, they killed this brother with they said that Fred Hampton and his bodyguard shot at them. There were no bullets going in that direction. It was 52 bullets going in the direction of Fred Hampton. They just basically came in there and assassinated him. And it was all behind the words of an FBI informant that let them know that Fred Hampton was in there, and that's where he's resting. Anyway, cause of death, assassination, gunshot wounds, 52 bullets. Resting place, it's in Louisiana. Let's see, occupation. He was an activist, revolutionary, and a Marxist socialist. Years active, 1966 to 69. Known for being the chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party. And he had one child that we know of, Mr. Fred Hampton Jr. Anyway, it was Fred Hampton did a lot to try to. He did the same thing that Huey Newton was doing out here in L.A. He was trying to create breakfast programs for the children, man, so they could learn in schools and stuff like that. But I'm just going to read a little bit of his bio. Fred Hampton was an American activist, Marxist-Leninist, and revolutionary socialist. He came to prominence in Chicago as chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party and deputy chairman of the Black Panther Party. In this capacity, he formed the Rainbow Coalition, a prominent multicultural political organization that initially included the Black Panthers, Young Patriots, and the Young Lords, and an alliance among major Chicago street gangs to help them end fighting and work for social change. In 1967, Hampton was identified by the Federal Bureau of Investigation as a radical threat. The FBI tried to subvert his activities in Chicago, sowing disinformation among Black progressive groups and placing a counterintelligence operative in the local Panthers. In December 1969, Hampton was drugged, shot, and killed in his bed during a pre-dawn raid at his Chicago apartment by a tactical unit of the Cook County State's Attorney's Office in conjunction with the Chicago Police Department and the FBI. Law enforcement sprayed more than 80 gunshots through the apartment. The occupants fired once. Well, they say he fired once, but what it was the bodyguard that was sitting there had his finger on the trigger and the gun was up. When they busted through the door, his finger put the trigger and that shot went through the roof. Anyway, during the raid, Panther Mark Clark was also killed. That was the bodyguard, and several others were seriously wounded. In January 1970, a coroner's jury held an inquest and ruled the deaths of Hampton and Clark to be justifiable homicide. Ay, ay, ay. A civil lawsuit was later filed on behalf of the survivors and the relatives of Hampton and Clark. It was resolved in 1982 by a settlement of $1.85 million. The city of Chicago, Cook County, and the federal government each paid 1/3 to a group of 9 plaintiffs. Given revelations about the illegal COINTELPRO program and documents associated with the killings, many scholars now consider Hampton's death and assassination under the FBI's initiative as a victim of a COINTELPRO hit. So that is your Black History Minute. Go check out. There's a lot more to say about Fred Hampton, but that's something that you should be looking at for yourself. Go check it out. Go check out Fred Hampton for yourself. Okay, gentlemen, let's get to the movies. Let's get to the movies. Sneaking in the movies. I put up Belly here just in case we can get to it to talk about it. Brother Terrell, have you seen the movie Belly with DMX?
Long time ago.
Okay, so for the
Long
rest
time
of
ago.
us, that's the rest of us too. But just if we can get to it. So first of all, we're gonna talk about our brother Jarvis, our brother. We used to work out with this brother Chadwick Boseman, right? He not only made this movie, but he not only starred in
Yes,
this
sir.
movie, but he produced it, right? So
Yes, sir.
uh I could start off. Let me start off with saying that I saw the movie, man, and I thought it was pretty good myself. I thought it was pretty good. I could see where he was sick while he was making it, man. He had lost a lot of weight because you and I remember him when he was like a tank, right? But of course, after getting sick, he lost a lot of weight, but he still looked good in the movie, man. He still got those chops, man. He can still make it happen, and that's my feeling on the movie. What about you, brother Terrell? What you think about the movie, man?
The movie was well written. I think that the movie was it showed his craft, as an actor. I think that we saw a different side of him. Well, I don't have, you know, a lot of movies that I've seen him in, but other than Black Panther, I believe there's another one he plays as I think is it James Brown? I'm not sure.
Yeah, he was in that James Brown movie. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was really good. I think it was well written. For me, I look for a good story, and I look for good acting, plot twists, and I think it was pretty good. I think that it they always say that there's truth distilled in fiction. So I think the story really shows issues of the police corruption that are in the metropolitan types of cities. Um, so I think that it really kind of shows how the system actually works. And I think it's a bit of an exaggeration maybe, but it definitely highlights that in the story. But yeah, it was fun. It's one of those things you sit back, get some popcorn, you chill. Like it's not too complicated, It's just kind of like a really like a blockbuster. It's a really good movie to watch with the family. But yeah.
What you thinking, brother Jarvis? What you think? What you got to say?
I was very pleasantly surprised how captivating and how it was really a movie. It kept me on the edge of my seat. I like life itself. It's very deceptive because nothing is what it looks like. Nothing is what it appears to be. And he was saying in the movie like something's wrong here. My brain is saying the same thing like something's not right. It's like how did you all know where to find the cleaner at? Nobody said the cleaner, and you gonna bust in his house? No warrant, no nothing. You just gonna bust in, and then you shot the man in the eye? Wait a minute, something's wrong here. So like I said, it kept me on the edge of my seat. It was really, like my man said, really well written. When you can make me think, you got a good movie because I'm like, what? No, something's. And even his character wasn't over the top. His character was right on point because he kept saying, something's wrong here. And I like when they went to the background as to what and the why. It's like why does with this guy, the white guy, and why they so close, and how did they get close? And
Right.
they told me how they got close. I said, oh, okay, now I understand. You know.
Yeah.
So and
Well,
they grew up together. Well, he grew up with his brother, and he
Right.
feels like I gotta protect him.
yeah, what's interesting is that every character was a product of their environment, right? So the police, even though they were corrupt, they were a product of
Yeah.
their environment. Policemen don't get paid a lot of money in that city, and they're required to lay their lives down. And then you see the relationship between the main character and the white guy. They're products of their environment. It wasn't until his brother died that relationship was forged. So it's almost like everybody's not in full control of their lives, but they're allowing life to kind of dictate the means and
Yeah.
which they're and all the characters are dealing with that in different ways. I think it was to the advantage of the main character that he was actually an intellect. Like he was able to see that these were, situations in which were out of his control, but he didn't have enough to get him out of it. You could see that when he was like, "Man, you killed the cops." Like he didn't. You can tell he didn't see. Like he saw where that was going to lead. He was like, "Bro, you just killed. Like we have to run for the rest of our lives. Like you really just messed up everything, right?" Like you can tell he was trying to really help the situation, but he's at the end of the day, it's almost like, can you really be in control of your life? You know what I mean? It makes you ask that question, like how much control do you really have? Because this brother was intelligent, served in the military,
Yeah.
well cultured, and he still died on a train.
Yeah.
you know, so I think it really makes you. I know a lot of people back home, they just know how to get out, but they can't.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about DMX before you got on the line, brother. Just sad situation where he was pretty much what you were saying, man. The Pope brother just was struggling with trying to leave those drugs alone, man. But he had been used to using it as a crutch for so long, man. He couldn't even think without having those drugs there with him, man. And unfortunately, took him down the wrong road. But I mean, hopefully his death wasn't in vain. Hopefully, enough young people see his death as a warning sign, man, to say, I better put this down right here before I go before I get that far, in the game. But as far as the movie, man, let me get back to the movie. I think that it was a good movie, and I personally would tell somebody to go watch it.
Oh,
and,
for sure.
How you guys feel about that?
Oh, for sure.
Brother Jarvis, what do you think?
I mean, it's definitely a hit movie, very underrated because I didn't even
Yes.
really know till I was encouraged to watch it. It's very, very underrated movie because, like I said, the characters are so, like my man said, it's like they're shoehorned. They only go one route, and they're often get out. Nobody can get out.
Right.
Only one who really didn't want out was the white guy, but made him a killer. When he went to the military, you taught him how to kill.
Yeah.
He was already, pretty much like the old girlfriend. No, well, the girlfriend of the guy who got shot in the club. It was like where we grew up. She, my man, like where we grew up, it was rough. And then my man is like, not only where I grew up was rough, you put me in the military and you taught me how to kill. So what do you expect? What do you expect I'm gonna do?
Yeah.
That's what I know. I mean, and some of us are, you don't want to believe it. Some of them are born killers,
Yeah.
but the born killers, you here for one or two reasons. Either you're here to right the wrong, or you're here to wrong the right. Because some of us are just born to kill, and you wonder why you're good at it because you were born to do that.
Yeah.
So like I said, but each character, it was really very captivating. Very much so.
So you'll give it a
And I
thumbs
knew
up.
something was wrong yeah. I mean, wow. I don't want to give a movie away, but
Yeah, don't give it
when
away,
people
bro.
start, like I said, no, I mean, it's like I know this. They just
Yeah.
show up. Come on, man.
Yeah. 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 You got to kind of watch. You got
No,
to kind of pay
life ain't like
attention
that.
so
Things
you
don't.
can see what's happening. It's not one of those movies where you can go get something to
Yeah,
drink in the middle of it, man. You gotta watch it because you miss something. You're gonna have to. Dang, I gotta rewind it all the way back. All right, brothers. That's sneaking in the movies, man. We're gonna leave it at that. We're not gonna go into belly. Maybe we go into that next time. We're gonna get because we got a special guest with us, man. We got brother Terrell here, so we don't, we don't want to press him for his time, and we appreciate him stepping in with us. We're gonna go to our lead topic, which is what we want to talk about. Now, this is why I asked this brother to come here. The brother made a movie about Kevin Samuels, asking the question, is Kevin Samuels dangerous, or making a statement. I don't know if he was asking or making a statement. I forgot now, brother, but I know that that was what was said is the man dangerous. So I found him very articulate, very smart, and he could even though I don't hold the same opinion, I wanted to see what he got to say because maybe he'll teach me something, maybe he'll show me something. So, Brother Terrell, could you go into your what you were trying to say when you were saying Kevin Samuels may be dangerous?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, well, first off, if you are a man of experience, I believe Kevin Samuels, he's an older gentleman, so he has some experiences in life, right?
Correct. 52 years old.
Yeah, when you have a level of understanding and intelligence, you are dangerous just in general because you have the tools to be able to bend people's minds into a particular direction.
Yes, sir.
People's minds are not they're very malleable. Like you can easily do inception with how people, especially now with all the issues. But I particularly made the video because if you're not careful, if your mind is not mature in a way to be able to sort through what he is really trying to say, you can hear something that he has said, apply it, and it can be destructive. Like, for example, according to his definition of a high value man, I am a high value man. So if I heard one of his videos about, hey, high value man should exercise his options to cheat, right? If my mind is not mature enough to be able to understand that within the system, the worldview of how things operate, yeah, it is a reality that people of a particular caliber, that they do find themselves in relationships where they are, they have mistresses and et cetera, et cetera. And I think his message can easily go left if you're not able to say, hey, this is what happens. It doesn't mean you should do it just because this is a particular reality, because that's not my reality. I haven't been married that long, but like I said, according to him, I'm a high value man. I don't feel the need to exercise my options in that way.
Okay, brother, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What exactly do you mean by go left? What exactly do you mean by that?
To go to an extreme. So we live in a society of extremes.
Okay.
So we have a problem that we're trying to solve, and then we go to the far extreme to try to fix it. So that's what I mean. So what's interesting with the video that I made, I really emphasize that what Kevin Samuels says, I don't disagree with it. I said that his delivery is very divisive. And that may be his goal, but when I talk to people who are fans of his content, there's really no clear solution. If you really think about it, there's really no clear solution that he states. And I think that if that's not really clear, that lets me know that that's not really an issue he's trying to solve, which is okay. It's okay. But for the audiences of people that, like I said, maybe they're not able to really discern very, very well. So it's more like a cautionary video, like, hey, take what he's saying in the context of your situation and be very discerning how you go about that, because it can easily turn into a toxic masculinity. And that's something that we don't want. We don't want men to say, hey, I'm high value, so you need to shut up and let me do what I want to do. That's not how we integrate femininity with masculinity.
Can you define for us what toxic masculinity is? Because some of us, I don't know, I can't speak for Brother Jarvis, but I'm really not. I don't have a clear definition in my head of toxic masculinity.
So as a martial artist, I'll use more of an analogy with that. So as a martial artist, I have 15 years plus experience.
Okay.
And when I first learned martial arts, they teach us very fundamental principles of how to be a person of character, to have integrity, to be a protector, to be kind, to be gentle.
Okay.
And why is that? Why do they start there? Is because you're learning how to enforce your will upon another man, and there's nothing he can do about it, right? It
Okay.
may be helpful for me to be humble. It may be helpful for me to be gentle, to be empathetic, right? So it's the same thing. That can be toxic. So toxic masculinity is having power and abusing it in a way that it doesn't help the weak, it doesn't help the feeble, it doesn't help or encourage those to protect other people. It's more so I'm powerful, I do what I want to do, and you will yield to what I represent. Would that be intellectually toxic? Toxic masculinity is not just physical, right? It can be intellectual, it could be emotional control, it could be physical control, it can be financial control. Um, so there's a realm of masculinity that men have the ability to enforce themselves into a situation because that's how God made us. He called us to be that type of person, right? But
Yes,
we're
sir.
but from a world perspective, if we don't know how to manage that in a way through love, right? Through humility, then that's when it becomes toxic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense for me. What about you, Brother Jarvis?
Yes, sir. It makes all the sense in the world. The thing is, going both ways. Kevin Samuel, I can't say I disagree. Like my man said, I can't disagree because, like he says, with males, it could become toxic masculinity. Females have practice using a term for it. They use sex as a weapon, and that's the thing that I like that Kevin Samuels, in my opinion, tries to take just to make the board even. You know, because you can have a woman that'll use, you know, say, I'll withhold this from you, even if you deserve it. If I don't get my way, and I think because we live in a society now where being a man's man or an alpha dog, that look on as a positive now. I mean, I'm hearing terms like middle man or this real. You can't even. We could go sports. The way I grew up, I didn't grow up with the coach being real soft. It wasn't like that. Coaches were hard. Coaches were very demanding. Well, if you talk today, they'll tell you you can't be that kind of demanding on an athlete today. They'll shut you off. It's like the younger generation, in my opinion, has really gotten soft. Saying being a 52-year-old man, this is exactly where he's coming from. Because the generation behind us, or even behind the generation that's behind us, are really, really soft. You can't talk to them straight up. You can't curse at them. You got to talk real polite all the time. Sometimes you need to hear, man, that's stupid. Stop doing that. And he talks, and even I say, well, maybe you don't have to use harsh language all the time, but I can take it. It's not a big deal, and I understand why he uses it. Because as men, especially black men, we do need to hear it. Because like I said, I'm hearing sisters, not young and old, black women are saying this uh, with the fierceness. They say it like I really don't need a man, and they starting to believe it.
Yeah.
That's the danger. You have black women that really believe I don't need a man anymore. I'm gonna be raised a black bitch. You do need a man. They need to know that, and I think from what I'm getting from, it's like no, you do need a man, and you know you you can never outtalk a black woman. I don't care what experience, who you are, because he doesn't. You can never outtalk her. The only thing you can hit her with is truth and logic. And after she comes down, might listen to you. But
Yeah.
right now, I mean, she's not listening to nothing.
I
If
see.
you ask me, and
I
I'm
see.
not bashing black women. I love black women, but she's not listening to nothing.
Here's here's and I thought about this for the past couple of days, and I'm curious what you guys think about this. I see, like, imagine like a very massive piece of machinery. Like imagine like a machinery, like a piece of machinery that's probably like 10 stories high.
Okay.
And say that represents the psyche of the woman, right? The way the woman thinks, how she feels, how she goes about her femininity, right? This programming has been going on for, say, the past 50 years, you know, like the first wave of feminism, the second wave, the third wave, till we have today, right? I feel like Kevin Samuels is equivalent to, we're trying to fix this machine. So this operator takes a bat and hits the side of that building, that piece of machinery, to get it to work, right? And yeah, it may draw attention because you're banking something, and you may get people to kind of be like, oh yeah, this is where the problem is. But to fix something that is so intricately complex, that's been, you know, programmed into the psyche of the woman, you have to go about it in a way that truly will bring solution from the inside out. And not as an engineer, that's what we do. When I'm trying to fix problems, I just don't focus on one area. I go into the actual hardware of the beginning of why it is what it is. And I think I find that to be the identity of women is what's collapsing. Is her identity is collapsing. So I think Kevin Samuels, like I said, he's equivalent to that person who's just banging something, but he's not teaching. Like even what you said, you know, I think all this is poor teaching. Women have not been taught how to value a man. Men have not been taught how to value a woman. Women have not been taught how to manage the changes, the cultural changes of the world, and still maintain their femininity. You know what I mean?
What do you think the reasoning is for that, brother?
Well, that's why in my video I give an underlying solution of spiritual deficiency. Like our culture is very spiritual, malnourished, especially the Black community. Our ancestors were very spiritual. They understood that it wasn't necessarily the seen, it was the unseen, right? And everything, science shows this, everything that's visible comes from the invisible. So for example, if we're gonna really go into the main topic of what Kevin Samuels talking about, we're really talking about a spiritual deficiency there. Like there's something that, because of the divorce of the last generation, so you have a lot of women who are being raised in single family homes, right? So they're not getting the fullness of their identity being shaped. So the culture is shaping that part. The streets are shaping that part.
Let me give you the number. 72% of households in the Black community are raised single parent.
Yeah. So so from a relationship standpoint, our relationship intelligence is low just because of that disadvantage, right?
Hey, you know, I heard you say it on a video this week. I stole that from you, brother. Just to let you know.
Oh,
I gave you credit for it, but I stole it from you, man.
But I mean, it's like I said, one thing I will appreciate about Kevin Samuels is that that's not what his intent is. His intent from listening to his videos is not like, hey, I'm trying to solve this problem, right? It's more so raising awareness, I would say more so. But what's happening is that even people in my own circle, they're hearing his content and they're starting to adopt it. And that's what's dangerous, because you're adopting something that you truly don't fully understand.
What exactly are they adopting?
For example, I have a guy who, you know, he's a pharmacist. He's considered, you know, the high value man that Kevin Samuels talk about, and he's been absorbing a lot of his content. Okay. And you know, his wife is considered like a modern woman. Okay. You know, and it's causing a lot of issues in their marriage, because now he has new expectations from another man, or what another man is saying, right? So he's actually changing his expectations, because they're kind of twisted to this thing of like, yeah, I'm entitled now. I have power. I do have power, and I can use it, and you can't do anything about it. That's toxic masculinity. Now, he's not doing nothing crazy, but the seed has already been planted. So now they're having issues. This brother was fine before he started listening to his material. Like and even myself, I actually stopped listening to some of his material because you know, as a Christian man, a lot of it doesn't align with what I believe, you know, and I think that's just me personally. But everybody has to have that discernment to know how to extract what he's saying. And Kevin Samuels is created because of the extremists of like the feminism that is, you know, indoctrinating the women that are in our generation now. They're being indoctrinated in these schools that men are the issue. The patriarchy is the issue. You know what I mean? So Kevin Samuels is actually, we've created him. Women have created him, essentially. So, I mean, I think that that's why I give a lot of, I actually in the video, I give the definition of what a high value man is.
Yeah, we're gonna link that video to this broadcast.
Yeah, and a lot of comments were like, "Oh, just like this is something a beta male will say." Right. It was interesting because I'm not beta. It'd be different if I was like, from a spiritual and worldly standpoint, at the bottom of the barrel. But I'm actually the cream of the crop. You know what I'm saying?
Well, don't take that personally, brother. I mean, yeah, they call you beta if you have a wife and you take care of your wife and your children.
Yeah,
beta, man. So don't even.
Yeah, but it shows you the mentality of the man, right? So like, I don't take it personally. It's because it's the psyche. It's been molded. It's been programmed, right? So like, you know, I think that, you know, with Kevin Samuels, he is definitely exposing wounds. There are a lot of men who really have a lot of resentment towards women. There are a lot of men who are sexually frustrated. There are a lot of men who don't have mentors. They don't have men in their lives to say, hey, the nuclear family is the most perfected idea that we can actually push through these issues. And I think even what's his name? James Bolden. I was listening to a lot of his videos on YouTube. He said, hey, why can't you raise your own children? Why are you depending on the government to raise your family? He was like, in order to really, for the blacks to really thrive in America, we have to have families and we have to keep them together. And we have to educate our own children. We have to provide a path for our own children. And that message has been lost in a lot of the activists, the black activists today. I think, you know, there are only like maybe a select few, but I think that's truly what we need to return to is, what does a husband, a father, those are the two areas that we need to focus on as a community to bring those back as a priority. Okay. You know, because even as a working man, it's tough, it's challenging. I have not figured out the perfect solution, but I try to keep it a priority. Like it's important that I'm present with my family. It's important that it's it's husband, father, and then it's me.
Right.
You know, and I think I even tell my wife all the time, like, you know, many women do have this mental model that Kevin Samuels is talking about because they've never had a father. They've never had a man to love them relentlessly through their development. So they're actually looking for something that only really, I believe, only God can complete, but they've never had the representation of that in their life. So they're not able to really know what's good for them. And if you don't know who you are dangerous. I always tell men, if you don't know your purpose in life, you are a dangerous individual because you can hurt another person and you can hurt yourself when you don't know who you are.
I got a question for you, brother, because because you said something that really like got my mind stirring, because I tried to find something, but I unfortunately wasn't able to find it. But you were saying that as a Christian man, some of his statements you're not with, right? Mm-hmm. Some of the things that he says, these statements he's made, you're not with it. So could you give us an example of something that he said that would be considered against the Christian belief, or at least from your perspective? I know you don't speak for every Christian person out there.
Yeah, of course not. I think his definition of high value is a great place to start. High value, he said, is, a particular percentage income. You make a certain particular income, your network of men that can identify you as high value. He talks a lot about his early videos. He emphasizes like, having that warrior activation. That's kind of what he's established as high value. That goes against what I believe the Christian doctrine holds, right? So we see, and I say this in the video, we see the idea. So I'll go this route. It's for people who are not Christians. So there's an idea that God sent his son to die on the cross for the sins of for humanity. So you have a man who's divine, who decides to become low, to become human, to serve. So that's it. That is a kind of a illustration of someone of value, of high value. High value wasn't God coming on a horse with a crown, right? God established an illustration to show what true power is. True power is having power and not using it. It's having a status, having an ability, having a particular stature of glory, and being able to come down through humility to lay down your life for people who don't even want you. Okay, that's a different kind of power, right? So that's an idea, and this idea is reverberated through every movie you will ever see. So think about it. Every action movie, there's always an archetype of someone who gives his life for the sake of humanity. So this idea isn't new. We see it in stories, we see it in fiction, we see it in all kinds of things that man has created. So what does that tell me? This can even be reverberated in relationships between man and woman, because what does a man do? He lays his life down for his family. He establishes, to provide is to lay your life down. So I think that is a clear distinction between what Kevin Samuels is talking about, where he says high value is income, it's network, it's influence. Whereas Christians, high value is dying to self, laying your life down, right? It's giving. And these things are something that are the hallmark of Christianity. It's love, it's serving, it's gentleness, it's having the capacity to love when you're not getting what you think you deserve. Kevin Samuels is saying you need to get what you deserve because you have power. You should exercise your options.
Right.
It's natural to sleep around. It's cheating for women. It's not cheating for us. Now you're setting the game because you have power. Kevin Samuels, if he was broke on the street, he would talk different, right?
Of course.
But because he has understood and studied the laws of seduction and power, he's able to control the masses because he has a status that gives him the logos, which is kind of what also Jesus represents. He's putting himself as the logos, as the ideal that I have accomplished the full masculinity profile. And now I can direct men of how to get to what I have. So we see him as a godfather now. Like, oh, this man knows how to dress, what to smell like, what to look like, how to talk. And this giving a false illusion of power is not really true power. It's an illusion of it. And I meet men like this all the time. They appear to have power, but my wife calls them empty houses. They can't weather the storm. They're not really strong. It's an appearance of strength because of what they've acquired in the material. So that to me, he's actually appealing, and this may be offensive. It's almost like he's appealing to men who are weak. Because we see a famine of men in the land right now, and they're frustrated. So when you are weak, you start to misconceptualize what power is because you're weak. You have no idea what it really looks like. So when you see somebody rise up, you think that, oh, that's what I want. Whereas men who heard my video and actually could extract some truths from it, they know what I'm talking about because they stood in the eye of the storm. They're able to say, oh, what that brother's saying, that's really what a high value woman is. It's really not her beauty. It's her ability to extract strength from me and to be able to sustain me. That's high value woman. It's not the fact that she's either promiscuous or she has a single kid, whatever. It's about her understanding of her role and how she's able to really make that work for her in a relationship or whatever she decides to do. And but yeah.
Oh no, well, I was gonna ask Brother Jarvis, you had any questions about what brother was saying? Because I got a bunch of them for him. I don't want to hog the whole program. Ask some questions. You have any questions for him?
No, not really questions, but comments as far as Kevin Samuels, in defense of Kevin Samuels. If it worked, what he said, he wouldn't be in the position that he's in. You know, when you say, or the question's asked, is Kevin Samuels dangerous? Well, he can't be dangerous unless the women give him this kind of power. If what he's saying didn't work, again, he wouldn't have the audience that he has. You know, when you say a real valued man in the eyes of God is someone who's, you know, meek, someone who's kind, someone who's nice, someone who does the right thing. If women were attracted to those kind of men, it would be like that. Really, I'm talking about sisters, but they're not. Women want the bad boy. That's what you want. So to put it on Kevin Samuels, he's just going off of what works. He's an old man, and with enough life experience, he's seen enough to like, you know what? You don't want no good. You don't want a good man, quote unquote. You don't want that. You want some N-word. That's what you want. So he's giving you what you want. If the women would change, and like you said, you know, instead of banging on this big machine, you get it to work because it turned on. You say, well, it's malfunctioning. Banged on it and it worked, but that didn't solve the problem. More than likely, you banged on it, which when you hit it, you hit the starter that turned the teeth that got the car to turn on. But really, what you need is a starter. You know, in other words, you need to fix it. But blaming him, meaning Kevin Samuels, I don't think that's the answer. It's not necessarily on him. If it didn't work, he couldn't say anything. To me, we like you said, brother, we really got to go to the women. They have to, in my opinion, they have to be retrained and reprogrammed. If you really want, because the key to our community is the family, God ordained marriage. I don't think there's a man on the planet that don't believe in that because there's some reason why you're chasing women. There's something in you that's getting you to chase women. I mean, you know, natural man. There's something in you because mathematically, it's like, why? Mathematically, if you think about it, why get married and over 70% of the marriages wind up in divorce? What am I getting married for? Because I'm part, but there's something in you to get married. There's something telling you to do that. You know, again, getting back to Kevin Samuels, he's going off what works. It works. What he's saying works. Now, the quote unquote high value man, wow. If the nice guy was highly valued, and even if he didn't have a cent, but because he's seen as a man that fears God and a good man, quote unquote, if women were attracted to him, more men would be like that. But they're not. Honest, not.
But the thing is,
Attracted to men, money, the most and the best security. That's what they want.
yeah, I guess I kind of
So go ahead, bro.
yeah, I kind of lose it. Like, and I agree with you. I don't personally blame Kevin Samuels. I think my statement is him being dangerous doesn't necessarily equate to blame. I think that he needs to, God holds us all accountable for what we lead the sheep to do. So that's between him and God. To make people more mindful of the content that they listen to was the cornerstone of my video. I would challenge if it works, because if he made a statement. He says that most black men in America make less than 42. Most of his content is in reference to high value men. I mean, Is he only speaking to a percentage that's to the 10%? I mean, a lot of men won't even see a certain amount of money in their lifetime. But I mean that 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 discrepancy alone shows you that he's dangerous, because now you have 80+% of men, if they make only that much money in America, they're saying, I'm not high value. I'm not high value, so I deserve what's ever in front of me. That's not a very inspirational story. That makes me more frustrated, actually. If I was making in that statistic, that makes me even more frustrated, because he's not providing any type of teaching that is truly at the root of to even make me a high value man. I'm not even going to tackle his other statements, but that alone is a huge issue. How does a man who makes less than 42 listen to his material and not have more resentment towards women? What is the solution there? Is to buy a better cologne, to wear a better suit? Like, what? He's speaking to a very small percentage of Black men. And then on top of that, I think we need to go to the men and not the women, because God went to Adam. It doesn't matter what the woman does. If men arrive to the fullness of what they're supposed to be, then they can be proper teachers and help women be what they're supposed to be. That is how I believe it's supposed to be. You know, how is a woman making you less than a man? No. That's not how it works. Like, you are a man. She came out of you. You feel me? Like, I firmly believe that. I'm passionate about that. Like,
well, brother, let me chime in real quick. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna say that you know, the way I'm looking at it is I like Brother Joe, I don't really have a problem with Kevin. I know that he's addressing some issues that we have in the Black community in particular, but pretty much it's American culture, men versus women. I mean, he's addressing a lot of those topics, but I am having a difficult time seeing where he is doing something to malicious, and how I'm listening to what you're saying about him being, you know, having this dangerous thing, but I'm having trouble connecting it. As far as I hear what you're saying about him saying things that would turn off a guy that's making you know, less than 50 grand a year. I get that. I could see how that could happen. But the way I see it, I see that he is trying to inspire guys to shoot for this, shoot for being a high value man, whatever that is. Because I agree with you. There's no clear definition of that. That much we can agree. So
but he sets it. He sets it.
Yeah, but that's his definition. Like him. That's him deciding that. You know what I mean? That's not. We haven't all sat at the party of the Black men and sat down and said, "Okay, we all agree. Bam! This is what high value means."
That's my point. His
definition.
Well, that's my point. It's his definition, but his audience is claiming it as what it is. That's why it's dangerous, based on what you just said. You feel me?
I hear you, but if that's his definition, and that makes men try to chase that definition, how is that dangerous to them, to the men or to the women or to the public at large?
It's become dangerous because the statistics show, like, that's one thing I like about Kevin Samuels, that he has data, like, which is why I think women mess up, because they don't have data, right?
Right.
He said most of Black men in America make less than 42. So
statistically,
right? Because he has set that as a parameter, right? His definition, you got to make a lot of money to be high value. Let's just take one of them. You got to make a lot of money to make high value.
Mm-hmm.
A man who's of that caliber, and I used to be of that mental model, I wasn't always making X amount of dollars.
Okay.
That is not inspiring for me personally. I can't speak of people in that class. But what's of high value is the invisible attributes that those men, what is of high value is the attributes needed to acquire that type of status. It's what's high value. High value isn't the materialization of, I have 6 figures in the bank. What men don't know is that there is a lot of invisible attributes that you have to integrate into your life to get to that stage. My father didn't teach me this. I learned this from great men. I used to be a bellman at a hotel, and I was struggling. Like I had a lot of debt. And working in a hotel, you meet a lot of different types of celebrities. You meet a lot of people of high status, of high value. And I had deep conversations with Deion Sanders. I mean, I had the opportunity to meet a lot of men of high value. And when I talked to them, I was like, wow, like the way they spoke, the way they were able to formulate their ideas, their thoughts, like it was almost like it was just a different type of intelligence, right? A man just doesn't walk into 6 figures, right?
Right.
So I think that he's hyping up a low class of men to thinking that, you know what, let me just make more money to be high value. It's like, no. Like there are other attributes that he's not mentioning, and he won't, because it keeps him at a status. That's how it works. I'm not going to give you the solution to how to be a real high value man, because you're going to acquire power, and that's going to tip the scale. Like you can't be power in the midst of power. There has to be clear distinctions. Even me as a martial artist, when I teach people things, I don't teach them everything.
Right.
I give them a taste of it, you know. But like that's what I mean. Like I'm not convinced from your statement that the majority of his content is inspiring a low class of men to be a high value class of men. And I could be wrong. I haven't listened to all his videos, but I'll listen to a few of them. He's like, reinvent yourself and dress better. That's kind of like, yeah, that's like, that might get me a job. But to fight with other alphas intellectually as a Black man in corporate America, to be able to have the power, the laws of power at work intellectually, oh, that's invisible. That's invisible.
Well, see that right there, what you're talking about, that's a little known secret. See, this is what the difference between men who are spiritual and are awake in the brain. You're awake in the brain, and men that are just spiritual, right? There's a difference. Can you still hear me, Brother Terrell?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. I'm following you.
Okay.
I'm following you.
Okay.
I was just agreeing with you.
There's a difference, right? There's a difference. Mm-hmm. Here's the difference. If you send an alpha dog into a room with another alpha dog, they're going to go boom. They're going to meet, and they're going to find each other, and they're going to clash at some point, right?
Yes.
If they have to come in direct contact, okay? Because as that's just the nature of alpha dogs, one person has to be on that hill. He has to be on that hill by himself, okay? But a person that's more spiritually awake, like you're a martial artist, the best fight you can ever have is one where you never had to put your hands on somebody, right? That's the best fight, where you were able to just use your mouth and use your brain to actually squash the conflict. That's the best fight, right? Those are the best fights you can have, is that when instead of walking straight into a bad situation, you just cross the street. Well, at least that's what our teacher taught us. Just cross the street. That's the best fight. You won that fight, because then now the fight never occurred. So you never had to waste the energy on somebody who is not going to make a difference anyway.
Right.
Relating that back to Kevin Samuels. With Kevin, I think what he was trying to do was not so much inspire everybody to come in contact with each other, but to kind of be your own master of your own universe. You know, and I believe he is a Christian. I am not personally, I don't follow the Christian path. I believe in God, oneness of God, but I don't follow the Christian path. But I still respect everybody who follows whatever kind of path, as long as they're not hurting anyone or stepping on any other person, and they have respect for other people. I can get down with anyone. However, I believe Kevin is Christian himself. At least that's what I heard him profess to be, that be connected to the Christian church in some way. So my point is, if he's trying to teach these guys to get their status up, or whatever status means, because I'm not a status person, I'm not a high value person, I'm just either you trying to do good or you're not, in my opinion, right? But that's me. I don't hold Brother Jarvis to that. I don't hold you to that. I hold myself to that. And whatever you want to believe after that. So a lot of guys fall into that. Well, Kevin, like you said, Kevin said this is high value, so that's high value, so I got to get it like that. Okay, well, get it like that. My point is, if he's teaching these guys to go and improve themselves, because I think for most of them, 6 figures or plus would be an improvement to them. And then it's like you were talking about the 10-story building, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you were renting a room in a 10-story building, and you could only afford to rent on the first floor, then only vision you would have would be from the first floor. But if you can now rent the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth floor, now you can see from the sixth floor. But then you find out there's mother floors on top of that floor. And maybe you could get a better view than what you got on the sixth floor if you go to the 10th floor. And you get up there to the 10th floor and you see, wow, I can see basically the whole city from here. Why wasn't I up here before? Oh, I couldn't afford it. Now I can afford it. I see the difference. Maybe I have to structure my situation different so that next time, this is where I'm going to go. I'm not even going to ask for the first floor. I'm going to go straight to the 10th floor. And that's where I'm coming from. I'm thinking that he's trying to inspire them to not have to clash with their finances or clash with women or clash with anyone. They can just improve themselves to the point where once you get to a point where you're making a certain level of income, you're going to see things differently. I'm sure you see things differently now than you did when you weren't making that kind of money, right? You were not as aware and you wasn't aware of your credit rating. You wasn't as aware of many other things. But when you get to that certain level of income, now you can see and you can.
Well,
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I think what's funny is that what he's saying is actually something that's pretty apparent. Being raised in the Black community, there were a lot of men, myself included, that we had the shoes, the jewelry, right? It's a false image of high value. That's already plaguing our community already. Is we're after looking good, not actually doing things that promote change. Like that is the issue. Like we want to look like we got it going on. We want to have the voice. We want to have the crown. But something that like I love about Floyd Mayweather is just like he's like, man, the crown is when he says I'm the king when no one's looking. Like I'm doing the work. And I think that he's just, in my opinion, I could be wrong. We can revisit the conversation. I could be wrong, but I think that thinking of myself of how I was thinking when I was in my 20s, and if I would come across his content, number one, I probably would have called myself high value because I would have been disillusioned because of my image that I created of myself. Okay. But there were people that I listened to that I started to work on myself intrinsically of certain things that I knew that I didn't have, certain things to become high value. But yeah, I hope that like I said, I haven't listened to all of his material. I think I don't think both of you could look me dead in my eye and say there's no way that a man can listen to his platform and not tilt into a place that's dangerous.
See, you're not clearly defining dangerous, brother. That's I can't disagree with you because I don't know where you firmly are standing.
Danger is simply taking something and using it in a way that causes harm to yourself, your spouse, or relationships. Can a man at any place of his life listen to his message and be able to derive and take away things to make him a man of high value? That message is so clear and it's so crystallized that no man can listen to this message and not take it in the wrong way.
I see, and so what's the wrong way? See, I'm saying
wrong way. The wrong way is can just be here's how I see a solution. A solution cannot be easily interpreted by anything else. Like if I say, hey, if I'm helping someone fix something on my computer, I'm saying, hey, you need this part to fix it. There's no other interpretation of that. I'm giving you something that will fix a problem. What I'm saying, using that as an analogy, is the solutions that he's giving. Are you saying that they're that crystallized that they can solve the problem that we're having in the dating arena, in the marriage arena, and just the overall issues that he's addressing? Is it that crystallized?
Well, I don't think anybody, and I'm not putting that on him. I don't think anybody, no preacher, I don't think anybody has the silver bullet to fix all marriages or anything.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm getting at with him. I don't look at, maybe it's because you're a young guy and you're thinking about, well, maybe when I was younger, I would have probably took his advice and went running with it.
Matter of fact, the example I just gave to you,
sir.
I gave an example earlier about a man who's listening to his material. Now he feels the need that he can cheat on his wife. Is that dangerous?
Well, I feel like this. I think if he was telling that to a person that wasn't a grown man, I personally don't think that that's a smart move, but that's me. I feel like, but that's me. You know what I mean? But if it depends. What I've learned as at my age, and I'm not waffling out of what you asked me, brother. I'm gonna try to answer this clearly.
No, you good.
Okay, so but me personally, I know that that people that make six figures, man, most of those kind of guys are going to be gone a lot. They're going to be doing, and if they're not and Kevin Samuels is not the person maybe they could be able to say, well, Kevin Samuels said I could do this, so I'm gonna go do this. If, just like if you in the Garden of Eden, and there was two people, Adam and the Eve, and the Eve was the one that the suggestion was made to first that God was a liar. The suggestion was made to her first, not him, her, right? So when she brought that information to him, he had to decide what he was going to do with that. Either he was going to say, no, I know God is telling me the truth. I don't have to go taste nothing. I already know. But because of his weakness for her, he went ahead and went for not only that trick, but the trick before that, right? Mm-hmm. However, with this thing about dating, cheating on your wife, as far as me and brother, we've talked about this extensively, so I can speak for him on this. We don't condone that. We don't say, well, you should go and cheat on your wife. That is just not a smart move. But we're not saying it from a moral standpoint. We're saying it from just an intellectual standpoint. That's just not a smart move to make, especially in this situation that you're in now. It's just not a smart move to make, because it shows massive disrespect to the woman that you're with, and that's that is the major issue. It's how you're exposing yourself to so many different bad situations. Now, as far as listening to Kevin and Kevin giving the guys the okay to do that, I'm thinking that a person making six figures, they're pretty much a self-made person. I mean, that kind of person has to make some serious decisions every day. They know whether they're going to cheat on their wife or not. They pretty much know that.
I'll end with a closing statement.
Okay. All right.
All right. So, inside of this is going to crystallize or make clear the word dangerous.
Okay.
As someone who does martial arts, most students, and I say most students that I get are beta.
Okay.
I rarely, when I encounter an alpha that comes into my class, can you think what he wants to do?
Oh yeah, I'm sure he wants to learn how to beat everybody up.
He wants to he wants to challenge me, alpha.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Anytime you're in a particular position where you are seen as alpha and you attract beta, you are dangerous. I'm dangerous because I can use what I know to make them think a certain way about myself and how they go about their life.
Okay.
Okay. Danger is multi-layered. To someone say that he's not dangerous, they're not understanding the power of influence. He's dangerous on that first layer because he is at a particular status in life. Most of the people, Kevin's not drawing alphas to him. I don't listen to Kevin every day. Oh my God, what's Kevin? I'm already who I am.
Right.
His audience, based off the 600 and something comments on my video, these are conversations of betas.
All right.
These are conversations of betas. They're getting emotional and reacting. Oh my God, this is a beta mental model. Alphas don't. Matter of fact, you guys are alpha because you know who you are, and we're having a conversation because you are alpha in your territory, right?
Yes, sir.
You're not reacting emotionally to me. You're saying, hey, I don't necessarily see. That's how alphas talk, right? So what I'm saying that Kevin Samuel is dangerous, I'm not saying he's dangerous in the sense of, oh my gosh, his material is all wrong. It doesn't have any base at all. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is that first tier, he's dangerous because of his following and because of his influence. Tier 2, he's dangerous because he takes logic and sometimes he can twist it to his own advantage based off his own personal experiences. That's dangerous because if you start to use your personal experience to guide a large group of people, you're guiding them through your personal experience. That's not everybody's experience. That makes you dangerous. Top 3 danger is not what I would see him as his message is toxic per se. I don't think he is toxic. I think that toxic people can take what his content is and make it toxic, right?
Oh, sure, of course.
Of course, right? That's not his responsibility, which is why I emphasize in my video, which is bizarre because I actually state in the first 2 minutes, I agree with what he's saying. I emphasize using discernment. There's nothing wrong with using discernment with material that as complex as the topics that he's covering are very complex. We've been dealing with these things for decades.
Okay.
So yes, I'm not expecting him to give clear solutions. My expectation is not for him to be an activist of any kind. Okay. All I said was he's dangerous, use discernment. I don't think that is a statement that is false. I would think that anyone at his level with his influence, you should use discernment.
I mean,
that's my ending statement, right? That's what I consider dangerous from the context of what I formed it in the video. Use discernment. Have a mature mind about these things. Really sort through what he's saying and challenge what he's saying. Like, make sure you don't just be like, you know what, he's right. That's a sheep mentality. It's like, oh my gosh, he's right. I can relate. No, you need to challenge and properly process new information that's arriving to your mind. You need to reevaluate it and test it and synthesize it before integrating it in. Not everybody can do that. many people can't properly absorb information, challenge it, synthesize it, and integrate the parts that are valuable to them. Not everybody is trained to do that, and that's what makes them dangerous.
Well, brother, if that's your last word,
Yes.
that's your last word. We appreciate you coming on. Oh, go ahead, brother.
Oh, go. I know he's been quiet a while. Go. Break it down. You got some things to say.
Oh, now you're in trouble, brother Terrell.
In closing remarks. Yeah. No, sir. No. Just in closing remarks, the black man doesn't know, but every black man, not only is he special, but every black man is an alpha. It just depends on where you're an alpha at. An accountant can't be a doctor. See, an accountant is an alpha in that field. A doctor is an alpha in the medical field. A lawyer is an alpha in the law field. But even when they meet up, the wisest of all three of those alphas is the one who can get the other two to help him out. That's a real alpha. Because no matter what or who you are, no one man, you can't do everything. So you have to depend on, because you don't know everything. So a real alpha, and every black man is an alpha. It depends on what field you're in. What are you an alpha at? Because I'm hearing the word beta. I think I know what you all mean or saying by that. But it depends on, you may be a beta or secondary in who's ever teaching you that field. But every black man is an alpha. He just don't know it. He really don't. Black men don't know it. Now, the one thing I will give Kevin Samuels is that, I don't know, the valued man, or, if I was a young man, I guess if I was in my 20s, I would be offended that I don't make six figures. I'm not a valued man, but I'm old now. So, like you said, with discernment, depending on what age you are, when he says you have power to cheat on your wife. Well, being an old man or being someone with a life experience, you kind of know. I know what you're saying, man. He just used, like I said before, he used very strong language. And I was really trying not to get into, like, when you say, he's encouraging men to cheat on their wives. In our community, we never really talked about it, but Hoover went to Dr. King and let him know, if you don't back down on some of the stuff you're saying, I'm going to play these tapes of you cheating on Coretta Scott King. Now, why would a man in that position do that? Was he stupid? Are you calling Dr. Martin Luther King a stupid man because he, quote unquote, had an extramarital affair, on his wife? Or are some men in these kind of positions that, there's sometimes that, I think maybe the real question may be, what makes you cheat? And I'm not saying that you putting it on Kevin Samuel, but I'm just saying, she got to be looked at too.
Hey.
You can go to the. Go ahead.
I love that. I like the fact that you asked that question. That's what I'm talking about. Like you're getting to, like what you just said, which I wholeheartedly agree with. You're starting to say, okay, why do men do this? And like now we're getting to something that we obviously have seen through observation, and we're having a conversation of why is this happening? Obviously, men are at different phases in life, so that's kind of what I'm talking about. Even what you just said just now, I'm not sure I get that same type of energy when I'm hearing Kevin Samuels. It's because you are taking something that you know and you've seen, and now you're synthesizing it. And maybe that, I'm not saying that should be his intent. I'm just saying that that's not what I get from him. But I agree with you. Yeah, I love I don't disagree with anything you actually said at all. I believe every black man is.
Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Is it time for us to start looking at, like I said, Dr. Martin Luther King, and approaching that question? Why did you cheat on Coretta Scott King? You think are we ready for that?
It's a good question.
It's a real question. You look at every prophet. every prophet in the Bible had really, really look at that.
You said every prophet in the Bible had what? Repeat that.
It seems like every prophet in the Bible had more than one wife.
I'm
Every
actually
prophet
reading
had more
about
than
the
one
prophet.
wife.
That's not true. But I understand what you're referring to though.
Name one did.
Huh?
I mean,
He said,
I
name
can't
one
think
that
of one
didn't.
that didn't.
I can
I
give you a
can't think of
couple.
one that didn't.
Enoch. First of all, Enoch was one. Number
I'm listening.
two, Elijah. Elijah did not have more than one wife.
Elijah.
Zechariah. I mean, there's a lot of prophets in
Trying
the
to think.
Bible
Yeah.
that were almost like eunuchs. So I don't think that's a great example. But if you can, I think Kings is probably a better example. A lot of prophets were.
Eunuchs.
Mhm.
You say eunuchs.
Like Daniel was.
That's a good example. But go.
I'm saying many of the prophets of the Bible were almost like eunuchs. They weren't eunuchs. But take Enoch, for example. He wasn't, he was taken up. The prophet Elijah, prophet Zechariah, Hosea. Oh, actually, Hosea was an interesting story because God told him to marry a prostitute. So he didn't have more than one wife because he received instructions from God to only marry that one whore because he wanted to show Israel that Israel was cheating on him with other gods. But I mean, I've been studying a lot of prophets, so like I can give you a list. But
I wonder why God would tell a man to marry a whore.
I actually just explained it. It's because Israel, in the Bible, we see an illustration that God is the groom and we're the bride. So Israel was not hearkening into God because they kept cheating on the world with worshiping other gods. So he gave the prophet instruction because the prophet wasn't truly understanding the sin that Israel was doing. So he used his relationship with this whore to illustrate that you're going to embody what I am in pursuit of concerning my children of Israel. So he married this whore and loved her.
Smokes.
He loved her, gave her everything, gave her instructions. If you want to read about a man, Hosea is an embodiment of high value because he told him to love her unconditionally. Doesn't matter what her past was, doesn't matter what she did. And through that, God was explaining to us that regardless of how much we try to run away from him, he's going to pursue us relentlessly. That was the illustration that God was trying to speak to. But I don't want to digress. But to your point, I think that I agree with everything you said as far as alpha and beta. And I believe that there is a spectrum of alpha, right? So depending if you're a lawyer, you're going to be a beta at some point. You know what I mean? I was a beta at some point to learn. You got to learn.
All were, I think.
So I think that every black man is a lion. I agree with that. Like you said it so eloquently. You didn't say anything I disagree with. I do like the questions you asked because now it provides an atmosphere to try to understand why these things happen. What I'm saying is that his delivery, with the ingredients of comedy and a bit of facetiousness, I don't think it creates that atmosphere that allows a group of people to put things into context. Okay, why did this happen? And why does it happen repeatedly? Okay, now that's the first layer. Now let's talk about experiences, right? Let's talk about masculinity, femininity. Let's talk about spirituality. You can't just tackle a problem and not address all the different things that make us who we are. Like whether you believe in God or not, you are a spirit being. There are things that happen to you that you just can't explain. You know what I'm saying? Like you just can't tackle things. From my analogy, just bang it on the side, right? There's other things that impact our way of thinking, our way of seeing, our way of feeling. And if you're going to really attack a problem, you got to have those types of conversations, all of them, not just relationship, right? We got to talk about men's insecurities. Why do men feel the need to want to put their stuff into different things. Is it a lust issue? Is it a generational curse? Is it spiritual? Is it truly nature? And I don't think it is, because
Yes.
as a high value man, it took discipline, it took self-control, it took strategy. All these things, played a role in me becoming a high value man. Why is it impossible for me to use those same attributes to date one woman? Self-control, dedication, commitment. Why are these things, kind of up in the air now when it comes to a relationship with a woman, right? So that's kind of like, I try to push back on some things that he says, not to say, oh, he's the devil, he's wrong, but I challenge things that come into my mind.
Yeah, you should, man.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what makes it, people who just like, no, he's right. That's dangerous. Because you're not challenging that thing. That's kind of where I just want to emphasize. But I agree with everything you said. I didn't mean to cut you off. I know you were going somewhere with your closing statement, brother.
No problem. Remember too, you're maybe a little young, but when Richard Pryor hit the scene, Richard Pryor used a lot of harsh and to the point language. Bill Cosby wasn't like that.
Nope.
Because at one time when they did the documentary on Richard Pryor, he said he tried to do like a Bill Cosby or a Flip Wilson, but it wasn't him. And in the end, he literally lost it in Vegas because he was telling these jokes to the white folks, and he was being very bland. And it's like black folks eating food with no seasoning. We just can't do it. And then one time he just lost it. He let it all hang out. And he said, the Brat Pack or whoever, they were Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin, all looked at him with awe. They were just, the white audience just looked at him because he said the jokes like he was talking to us. But he said, I couldn't take it no more. He had to get it out. So I'm saying, with Kevin Samuels, we as a community, we need it all. Because sometimes that kind of language or that kind of talk, we need to talk to just like that. We need it all. And like you said, if you're a martial artist, there's some days we got to go hard. Because I can soft shoot or I can give it to you soft, but you're not really gonna hear me. I can pick you up and slam you on the ground. Now you hear me. Like telling a child, sit down. Then they sit down because that's what you can hear. So sometimes a Kevin Samuels is necessary, very necessary.
Yeah, I think that.
Hey man, y'all are doing fine, man.
Sorry, go
ahead. I was going to say it reminds me of my friends say, hey, Malcolm X was necessary. They sat on two different sides of the spectrum, but they were necessary forces to help mankind figure out, or this country figure out, some of the underlying issues that we are still facing today. You know what I mean? So I think that everything you just said, I completely agree with. I think that, which is why discernment is necessary. Like if you weren't the person to properly discern between MLK and Malcolm X, you was out there in the streets, right? You went to whatever extreme, right? Malcolm X was dangerous. He was a dangerous man, and he went through a great transformation, right? To show you, just to show you, if you I know you guys are probably even more so than I am, but yeah, these people, when I see people who have that type of impact and that type of influence, man, I always say they dangerous, man. You dangerous. You causing some waves, and what makes it even more dangerous is that you use the perfect analogy. Yeah, when I teach my students, there are some hard days, but those hard days are not every day. They are selective. It's very strategical in which I bring or descend upon them in a particular way. This is the nature of a father. As a father, you're not always. This is what black men do. You gotta be strong. Like my dad didn't show no vulnerability. I've never seen my dad cry, even like bump his toe. I'm like, because he saw that as weakness, right? That's an extreme. No, the dimension of a father is how God Father, Abba, teaches us is through gentleness. I always tell men in my class, gentleness is controlled power. Most people just like, no. That is power too. But master is gentleness. It's controlled strength. And that is something you do strategically. His platform is boom, 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 boom. What size you wear? Boom, 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 boom. Y'all don't. It's he's on fire, and I think, like you said, that's necessary. What makes him dangerous is every video is boom, 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 boom. There's no. It'd be different if he was like, hey, let me talk to my ladies. Let me bring some, blah, 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 blah. Every video, I'm subscribed to him. Every video I see is, I mean, he's swinging uppercuts. And that's what makes him dangerous. Anytime your momentum is like that, just in general, you become dangerous because you're not balanced. You're not balanced. He's not balanced. I don't think he's balanced. And when you're not balanced, if you drink too much water, you'll die. Right. It could be good for you. Kevin Samuels could be good for people, but too much water, you can die. That's what makes it dangerous.
We could say that about anybody, man. We could say that about anything. Too much TD Jakes, and you'll be,
balance.
Yeah,
balance.
You know what I mean. So I'm not. See, the thing is, I'm not disagreeing with you, brother, because I hope that we were very hospitable to you. And
for sure.
made you to feel that you could come back, because we got to get some clear definitions. Because see, I'm like you, I'm an engineer, man, and I need a clear definition of everything, man. I have to, you know what I mean? I don't know if I don't agree with you, because we just barely scratched the surface of this thing to try to find out. And you basically were sharing what you feel, and we were sharing what we feel. But now let's get down to the metrics of it and see, okay, how can we define dangerous with numbers? How can we define it? Like, what can we do? What can we look at to say, okay, now I know what you're saying when you're saying Kevin is dangerous in a certain sense. I get that. I mean, when you can grab the minds of the people, you're going to be dangerous to people. I get that. But what I'm saying is, if you're saying that the danger is more so in a, it's going to have an effect. His philosophy is going to have an adverse effect, or an ill-wanted effect. Now let's get into that, and let's see, how the conversation gets there.
Well, that's easy. There's a guy that he also is dangerous. Okay. His name is Jordan Peterson, and he's that's a dangerous man. And we can see the metrics because now we've seen a shift in the mentality of the man, where he's had testimonials of like, hey, Dr. Patterson, because of your material, I've changed my whole life around. I cleaned up my room. I've taken responsibility of my life. I'm starting to make better decisions. I got out of debt, whatever it is, right? There was an emergence. He didn't control this. There was an emergence of when he was going to these conferences, when he was going to these interviews, he was so dangerous that men, when they spoke to him who disagree with him, they left that conversation. There's something to what he's saying, right? He started to really make people think about why you believe so strongly on these ideals, right?
Yeah.
And I think if Kevin Samuels, I could be completely wrong. See, that's the thing about me. I don't mind being completely wrong, because so let's see what happens. There should be a shift, whether through a digital space. So sorry. No, it's okay. I was just okay. Sorry, it's bedtime for little man.
Oh man, sorry, man.
No.
You gotta go. You gotta go, man. Let us know, man. We understand, brother.
Oh, he
must have been there.
I think he's down. I think she's looking for the camera. We should see in both our circles, because that's how things kind of get in front of the camera, right? We should be seeing, I should be seeing in my circle, your circle, especially young millennials, we should be seeing a very visible shift of like men coming out of their beta mentality into an alpha mentality. We should see an increase in successful relationships in the Black community where men and women have a clear path of how to operate in a relationship that will bring them a family, that will bring them legacy, success, generational wealth. We should see, you know, not overnight, but you should see that. I think when Jordan Peterson hit the scene, I automatically, in my own personal circle, saw people making changes and seeing results. So, you know, and some people don't like Jordan Peterson, right? But you can't argue against the results.
How about this, brother? How about this? Let's talk Jordan Peterson at another. That's a whole nother conversation.
Oh yeah, he's a different beast.
Let's get him another time. Right now, we got Kevin Samuels on the hook.
Yeah,
let's keep him on the hook, and let's because this is the reason why I came. I brought you on, man, because I wanted you to talk for yourself and bring out the points that you feel was important about why you felt he was dangerous or why you made that statement that he was dangerous and what you meant by that. So at this point, I'm still how you said looking for the I'm waiting for
clear.
Huh?
Do you know? Oh, I'm still. You say you're still waiting for?
No,
what?
I'm just saying when brother to me, brother. No, hold on, but brother to me, I'm clear on him saying that he explained why he feels that Kevin Samuels is dangerous. You know, the reason why they killed Malcolm X, the reason why they killed Dr. Martin Luther King, and they wanted to kill the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You know, the reason why you killed them because, like brother said, they had captured the imagination of a nation. That's what makes danger. When you capture a man's imagination and get him to stop, no matter if he's an alpha dog or not. I don't care if he's the president or the CEO of a company. When you can get him to stop and think and listen to everything you're saying, I believe that's what brother's saying. That's what makes you dangerous.
Yeah, I get that. I get that part. You know what I mean? That's not where I'm having a disagreement with him. I'm having I'm not even having disagreeing with him because I don't know if I disagree with him because I'm looking more for a metric. See, like what he's saying, yeah, that's true. That's true of any man that's going to be out there saying the things that Kevin is saying. I mean, if you, and I'm not Jordan Peterson, any of those guys that's going to say stuff that's going to bump straight up against the women empowerment movement, you're gonna get blowback. I mean, you're gonna be considered dangerous. And at a certain point, when you start affecting people that make money off of those groups, that's when they're gonna move on you. So, but what I'm saying is, I think that Brother T is saying that he's dangerous not only in that sense, but in another sense. And so that's what I'm getting. I'm trying to get to define.
And I think another way to look at it too is, you know, when I think there's also danger when you don't really know exactly what something is. Like, for example, you guys listen to his material. What do you think, in your opinion, is his clear solution to the problem? In
which particular problem?
Let's just tackle one of the problems. Well, this is kind of interconnected to his other issues, but say, hey, women of success of a particular caliber have a hard time finding men and keeping them. Okay.
What's the issue?
This challenge or this problem is that women of success can't find men and can't keep them. Okay. That's the problem. Okay. So I'm not sure which videos you guys watch. What in that video that I watched of him, addressing that issue, the solution was not clear.
Okay.
So
I think his in my opinion, I'll give my opinion and brother can give his opinion.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, his solution was to lower your standards are way too high.
Mm-hmm.
You got to bring them down because you think because you got see like for women resources that is a something that they will consider when they're looking into being with a man on a long-term basis. His access to resources, the better he has access to resources, the more she'll make that consideration. Well, we think like them. As a woman, because you got access to resources, then we don't consider you more because of that. We consider you more. First thing we consider is your appearance,
Mm-hmm.
and then it goes from there. And so that's what he was saying. If you're at a certain age and you have a certain appearance, then naturally the guys are going to they're going to judge you. Like, let me ask you a question, Brother T, and both of you brothers. If you was looking at a woman and you were single, now nobody's married, you're single. The first thing you would notice about a woman would be obviously her appearance, right?
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't even go talk to somebody whose appearance wasn't appealing to you, right?
Right.
I think that's what he's trying to say is that's what you need to consider first. And if you're, like you said, you're that woman that maybe because, most women are not in their 20s making that kind of money. They're usually in their 40s making that kind of money. So maybe you're a little beyond where you can have guys that's younger looking into a long-term relationship. Maybe you need to start going higher, older, and start accepting maybe expanding your thinking.
Here's the danger. So I'm glad
Okay.
you broke it down. So here's the danger. There's so many nuances in what you just said.
Okay.
Number one, so the women that he interviews on these topics, he asks them questions about their dress size.
Of course.
And he asks them, how do you rate yourself?
Of course.
Okay. To me, see, this is where things get skewed. This is so many nuances in what this topic is, because we've both seen women who don't look, they're fives.
Of course.
And they're with men. They're with men who are attractive men, got money. We've seen this. I've seen it all the time.
Of course.
I've seen really big women with very fit men. I've seen very not so attractive women with successful men, right? And so that's why I think it's just so many different variables that you have to consider. You just can't say, and it sounds right. The logic makes sense. Like what you just said makes sense, but that's not how it really works. If you were to look at what's around you, that's not how it works. Just because a woman has a child, it's true. Her value drops in this market that we've created. However, I know women who have children who are with certain calibers of men. Like, I don't know the numbers to it, but that shows me that she has something of value that was greater than the value of physical appearance. Okay.
But Brother T, don't you think that to even attract a guy like that, you'd have to have the physical appearance from the beginning? Because I hear what you're saying about women that are not at their best weight and physical appearance being with fitter guys. But I think, like he described, most of the time they got together when they were younger, and he just, she's, because there's a factor that he doesn't discuss, and that's love. When you love somebody, means that you're going to see them as valuable in spite of their physical appearance.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna like their physical things that are gonna be going away. You're going to be connected with them on the spiritual side, on the inside. So even though they got physical features that are fleeting, you're still going to be able to have that same uh, pull for them like you did in the beginning, because you got something spiritually on the inside plus what you got on the outside.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no absolute. Yeah, there's some people, physical attraction will be the first thing that will, bring them together. Sometimes, yeah, you meet somebody during childhood. Sometimes you meet somebody through trauma. Sometimes you can be in your 20s and you lost your father. A man comes. I can mention infinite variables of why these relationships are forged. What I'm saying is that way he paints the picture, he paints it with absolutes, and that you can't do that. That's dangerous, because that people don't even think about that kind of stuff. Like, I have conversations, people don't even think about. They just say, "Oh yeah, he's right. It's everything's physical." Like, no, that's only a variable. Like, there's times people get together because of the environment. Sometimes it is vibrational. Sometimes, depending on, this happened to myself when I was single. Some things is just the right time at the right place with the right theme. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this, sometimes some of the crazy things bring people together. It's not always like, oh, the woman has to have this particular dress size. No, there's women who the femininity, the profile femininity is so powerful. It's so powerful. I've seen women who are not physically attractive, but they are desirable and appealing just because of their personality. They come into a room and people look at them. It's not because of their body. So he doesn't go into that. He talks with absolutes. Like, yeah, men only look for this.
Well,
women need this to get this.
Well, he has to talk to, like, what you're talking about. You're talking about the 1 or the 2 in 1,000, right? But he has to talk to the 999. You know what I'm saying? And the 1 or 2 that got like that, okay. If they got through, they got through. But he has to talk to the masses, because the masses of black men or not even black men, just men in general. If the masses of men are going to want to find somebody attractive, and the reason why is they're going to want to stay in it. Most men, now he's teaching. There's many people teaching different things out there, so I don't want to put it all on him. But what he's teaching is trying to get these women married, right? From what I understand, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Brother T. I'm telling you what I heard from him. So what I heard from him is that he's trying to get these women married, but to get them married, they have to understand how men think about things. And if you don't understand how men think about things, you're going to still do what you want to do. And what you want to do so far has got you divorced and with cats. So he's saying, hey, if you don't want that, you need to focus on these other areas, and especially your sexual market value. Whatever you can do to raise that, that's what you need to do. Because if you're worrying about, oh, well, I want this out of a relationship, and I'm gonna just sit here and wait until a man come. Like brother Jarvis was saying last week, you ain't Cinderella. Ain't nobody come knocking on the door. Yeah, Shanique went in here. I'm just trying to, I came, I got the Maserati right here, and I'm waiting for you and your children to come with me. And that ain't gonna happen. What's gonna normally happen is, see, the thing is, and the main thing is, most women don't understand, because they never really had to compete in this marketplace until the wheels start falling off on them around maybe 27, 28, 30, round in there. That's when the wheels start falling off on them. And now they have to compete. They got to do something. Before, their body was so tight, they didn't have to come do nothing. They just come outside, and guys were all over them. Now, once you start getting up in age, the same caliber of dude is not approaching you no more. Right? The same caliber of guy is not approaching you like he did when you was 22. Same kind of guys ain't approaching you when you was 22, when you 32. And they definitely not when you 42 approaching you the same way. And that's just the math of the situation. Now, Brother T, what am I saying that's wrong? Tell me how I am way off.
But the thing is,
tell me.
But the thing is, not every black woman.
Hold on, T. Hold on, T. Before you go there, could I say something?
Sir.
Please do.
Yeah, yeah. Before that, T, both of y'all are absolutely right. You know what I mean by Clarence. Um, um, as you get older, I don't want to put it in terms of sexual market value. I'll say, as
That's
a
what it is.
woman, but that's what men too. Everything goes down. The field gets a little narrower, as you get
Yeah, but
older. But that's
if
natural
you
for
have
everybody.
money,
So that's
if
not
you
saying
have money, if you have money, you can hold off father time off. Well, not father time, but you can still play in the game because women will, if you have money or resources, they will they will overlook a lot of deficiencies that you may have due to hitting the wall. It's not the same for women.
right.
So
Well,
that's
that's
what I'm saying.
right. That's for a man. Right. That's for a man.
Right?
But I mean, most brothers or most men, you ain't making over, like you said, you ain't making over 40,000. So the field shrinks. This is like you say.
Right.
If you want to talk in general, the older as a man, the field shrinks. You ain't making six figures. Most brothers ain't making six figures. Now, what T said, I agree with him also when he says, because I never want a woman to ever feel like because I have children, as you say, my sexual market value, or I'm devalued because I have children. Because like T said, I know men, and I don't think that, I think it's in general. I know many women have gotten into relationships even though they had three or four children. I know many of them. So when
But
Kevin
I
Samuel
don't think
talks
Kevin
about
was
that,
ever.
I'm
I
with
don't
T
think
on
Kevin
that.
was ever
He
saying that.
wrong.
But wait, wait,
Well,
wait. I
that
don't think
don't
Kevin was ever saying that. I don't, brother Jarvis. I don't think Kevin was ever saying they can't get in relationships. He was saying they're to you're trying to get a person that makes this kind of income a year, and that's probably not going to happen. That's
Yeah,
all he was saying.
and I think to add to something that has to be clarified, which is why I wish the women that came on his platform were a bit more intellectually versed. When a woman says, "Hey, I want 2, 3 children, and I want these things," that's no different than asking me when I was in my 20s, "Hey, what do you want to do when you grow up?" Like this is a target. This is an ideal, right? Um, it's something that I'm striving for. Should I be making decisions right now off my ideal? Like, yeah, I don't think any woman would say, "Hey, I want a dude to make less than $30,000." Like, like we all have ideals, right? I
Right?
think what bothers me is particularly when he is speaking with women and he's going through this process of reshaping or reevaluating the way they think. It's so abrasive that I don't truly believe it does any good for that particular woman, but make her even more frustrated or delusional. I
Why?
think,
How come?
how come what?
How come it make? How come if I'm telling you the truth, I say, hey brother, you got some toilet paper under your shoe. That's why you walking through the club, you ain't nobody talking to you because you got toilet paper on your shoe. Now,
Do you,
if you get mad at me and say you're tearing me down because you said that you got that toilet paper on your you say I got toilet paper on my shoe.
do you,
Are you going to ever take that toilet paper off and realize, hey, once I take this paper off, I'm going to become more attractive to the ladies
no,
out
no, then that particular person is missing a very important dimension, and that is teaching. For example, I'll use my own life on an illustration. This happened recently. I was raised in a Christian home, Christian values.
here. All of us were, yes, sir.
I got my wife pregnant and we weren't married.
Okay.
I call my father, I tell him I messed up. I got a girl pregnant. The first thing he didn't tell me was the truth. Like, hey, you this is wrong. I raised you better than this. You know, how could you do this? Have I not taught you the values and the principles to conduct yourself in a particular way, to have self-discipline, to be responsible? He's telling me the truth now.
Yeah.
My father did not do that. What did he did? Because he's a father who has the dimension of teaching, he says, kings fall, But depending, no, actually, he said it like this. He says, being a king is not always doing things right. It's about when you fall, you keep pushing forward, right? He said something to that nature, right? There was a teaching of, as a man, we are not always going to get it right, but that does not define you. It's what you're going to do after that.
Of course.
Not only is that teaching me who I am, it's also reminding me that, hey, it's not okay, but it's going to be okay, right?
Okay.
So truth has, if you want someone to become something great and somebody that's going to be impactful and influential in the way that they grow intrinsically, you use truth. Yes, he has truth, but his delivery is falling on deaf ears because they're not going to extract anything. They're in the social media age, it's just going to be another video that got a lot of views, and she's going to reduce herself back to what she's been doing. She's not going to pay for they're not going to pay him money for the counsel, right? She's going to keep doing what she's going to do. So the delivery is a huge issue with the female. I'm not speaking to how he talks to the men, but that's not how we teach as men. That's not how we raise. That's not how we.
So what should he be? What is he doing wrong, Brother T? What is he doing wrong? What is out of order in what he's doing?
What's out of order is the atmosphere he creates. So first of all, this is why in my video I said if he had a daughter, there's no way he would go about if his daughter had the same problem that these women are having.
Yes,
he would not go about it in the comical, abrasive way. He just wouldn't, because one thing about being a father, you become, or you have, it's available to you to become a teacher. You have empathy because you understand that this person is a child. That's the first thing. When you meet somebody who's not thinking well, it's not condescending, but they are a child. They have not quite, my son does things, I'm like, he's still trying to understand something. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how old you are. It's about your understanding. So that in itself creates empathy. There's no way I'm going to go into a situation and say, okay, now we went there. Who cares if she went there? You are the man. And she needs understanding. She needs wisdom. So what you're going to do? Hey, sister. Hey, let's have a serious conversation about what you're looking for. Let me start to break this down for you. Hey, all right. I want to let you talk, but I have something that will really benefit your life. It's going to benefit not just yourself, but those around you. Let's talk about how you convey. Like this is what I mean. It's atmosphere. So that's the first thing. His atmosphere is not conducive to learn. If I was a female, think about it. Look at his comments. Women are not signing up. They're being more offended. Once you offend, you can't teach at all. Once I ask you one question, what dress size you wear, you've already have put a wall up. That's no different than me having a student come into my class and I say, nigga, you weak. I've automatically destroyed him.
Okay.
But what I would rather do is if a student comes to my class, let me remind you that you are strong. Okay. Let me affirm and let you know that you are this. Now let's begin to go to work with what we need to do to give you the tools to not just acquire what I believe you can have, but to maintain it. They're not going to maintain, even if they did listen to his material, they're not going to maintain a relationship, because the same things that get you to a place don't keep you there. That's an illusion. You got to grow. You got to keep growing. You got to keep evolving. You need new tools.
Okay, brother. I mean, I hear you.
Yeah. Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
I mean, yeah. So what I'm getting from what you said is it's not necessarily the content of what he's saying. It's more of the delivery of how he's presenting it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then if it becomes that, then we can agree to disagree on the delivery of anything, but let me speak to him as talking to his daughter as opposed to women on the street. He's not going to be trying to have sex with his daughter. So of course he's never going to be trying to have sex with her. There's no hope or no instance where he would be trying to do that. So of course he's going to talk to his daughter differently than he would any other woman in the world.
But that's a problem with him then, because he has to orient her in the world of a system that thinks like that. So to me, that's a deficiency. Like when you have a daughter, you have to orient her and treat her like for example, you know, my son would treat a woman how I treat his mother. So you have to always, in my video, I highlight this. You are a father before you have children, which means
we're gonna post that video up, by the way.
Yeah, I'm actually, and things I'm saying are just ideals. Like I'm trying to get here myself. Like when I see a woman on the street, I have to see her as a daughter of God. I can't. If I start to see her in any other way, I've already become something that is not the original state of like. And you have to go through a reprogramming to really reorient how you see women, because the media, pornography, and all these different things that have programmed men to think women of a certain way, that has to be tackled. Like, you know, that is a program that's not a great program. So like, you know, we have to begin to see, men have to see women as God sees women, and women have to see men as God sees men.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah. So let me ask you this, Brother T. Let me ask you this, because you're doing fine. That's why I stopped you. You don't have to keep going. You're articulating yourself good. So, but to that point, but let me ask you something else. And you decide if you got the time or not. But since we have this problem of the women do not see the men, and Brother Jarvis went into this a couple of weeks ago about how, based on trying to keep the men alive, they have treated us a certain way, but instead of helping us, it actually hurt us as far as being men in our own homes and putting our foots down in our own homes. It actually hurt us. But they had a strategy of trying to keep us alive by emasculating us so that we won't go out and talk ourselves into a coffin out here in the real world. However, so what can we do? Okay, because I know, well, I know that Kevin doesn't have a lot of solutions, so I'm not looking for solutions from him. I'm only seeing from him that he is basically putting it out on the table that things are messed up, stuff that people wasn't saying. See, people, when we weren't having these conversations in the public 10 years ago,
right,
we just couldn't do it. It wasn't no way. But now we having a public discussion. Hey, this is messed up. Women are in this situation and it's causing an issue, and they have unrealistic goals, many of them. My question to you is, if Kevin is doing it wrong, delivering it wrong, how should it be delivered? Because let me ask you, because there's another guy out there. He just got caught up in a cheating scandal, Derek Jackson. I don't know if you're familiar with that situation. Okay, well, this guy was telling women everything they wanted to hear, delivering it exactly the way they wanted to hear it, and he ended up getting himself caught up in a situation that was just ugly. I mean, it's very ugly. And you can look it up. But my point is, he did all the right. He said and looked like everything. He did all the right things, but it all backfired on him because he wasn't able to maintain. It was an illusion. He wasn't able to maintain the illusion, and it backfired on him. And what I'm saying is, should we continue to give them this illusion and say, okay, well, in my opinion, this illusion, I mean, we all got different opinions, but my opinion, certain things that we're telling them or we're letting them think is an illusion. And then when they get to a certain point, it's no, you can't hide the illusion from them anymore. You can't keep the curtain back anymore. So how should Kevin deliver this information, or anybody, not just Kevin, anybody?
I don't. Yeah, when I made that video, I think Kevin is so intelligent that he knows exactly what he's doing, right? I myself, when I hear his material, it lets me know what I need to do, because I always tell students who have issues with finding their purpose in life, I say, hey, what frustrates you or makes you angry? That can help you find out what you've been called to do, because what anger and frustration is a type of passion. It really is, because it has such an energy behind it that puts you, it kind of fuels you to take action, to do something. So when I hear Kevin Samuels, like it triggered me in different ways, because he actually made even more, I already knew this already, but he even made me think about, okay, what I want to do to help men is to help men understand who they are, and why God made them the way that they've made them, by going into depth of the dimensions of man, which, has led to the book that I'm writing called The Four Seasons of Power. I believe that there are dimensions to every human being, and they have to be activated at particular phases in life. If you miss that phase, it kind of sets you up to fail in the future. So, what my brother said earlier, he says, hey, it works. What works now doesn't mean it'll work later. And I always tell people, you have to be very discernful in what will continue to work for you. I've witnessed that in my own life, that I've taken something from someone or ideology, and I've worked it into my life, and it didn't sustain itself through the different seasons of my life, which is why we have to go about it with a steady hand, not just a skillful one, but we have to be steady with what we're trying to solve, or try to understand more of. So for me, my passion is to tackle, masculinity, and not just that from a perspective of the world, but from a perspective of God. I'm a very spiritual person, so I believe everything at the root is spirit. So for me, for example, when I was off to college, my dad takes me to a coffee shop, and right before college, he looks me in the eye. He says, son, let me tell you something. He says, the men in our family, we wrestle with something that many men wrestle with, but it's expressed more strongly in the generation of our family. So for example, my grandpa, he owned a couple of brothels. My father before him, he was a pimp. So my dad did something that most men are not in a position to do. What did he do? He showed me the battles to come. And he said, hey, this is real. Doesn't matter how much spirituality, how much you believe. David had real issues.
Yeah.
The people of the Bible had real issues. They were human beings.
Yeah.
And what he did was, he didn't give me some illusion, some like, hey, put this on. He said, no, this is a real issue. And you're going to have to fight with this and figure how to honor God through this and be on the right side of this. And I didn't understand it fully in that moment, but that was a spiritual moment. I was still a virgin. You know what I mean? That was spiritual. He was talking to something that was going to happen, and I believe that's my approach. I plan to come face to face with some of the things that I've dealt with in my own life and try my best to be as transparent to say, hey, I've wrestled with pornography and this is how I got delivered from it. It wasn't just an over spiritualized experience. It was that I had to reorient myself in a way that I was first humbled to know that I had an issue with how I perceived a woman to be. And a lot of the lack of vulnerability that my father gave me led me to that place. I wasn't, cared or loved for in my childhood, which led to my spiritual deficiency.
Wow. Okay.
of that addiction or whatever, And this is the case for many men. Sometimes it can be alcohol. Sometimes it can be drugs. It can be sex. A man's desire to have sex is him trying to get something out that he can't express. So he got to go bust something. He got to go get a release, right? That's poor regulation. So I want to help men through that process, through empathy, through saying that, hey, you don't have to kill 1,000 to be great. You just have to control one, and that's you. Once you can control yourself, you can go control the city. But you can't take the city if you're still disoriented of how you view the world, right? So you have to have your identity. You got to have emotional intelligence, relationship intelligence, spiritual intelligence. These are the dimensions of man, teaching men how to hunt. We were hunters, how to teach men how to love. To be married, to be a husband is a ministry of love. Like I have to learn how to love so that when I do meet a woman, I can let her know and express the fullness of what love is, not just sexually, but laying my life down by speaking to her needs emotionally. Most Black men can't even communicate emotionally, right? Like I want to help men with that. Like this is how you hear a woman.
Right. So you, well, let me cut in real quick. So you're saying, and you're saying that you would do it differently than he's doing at this point.
For sure.
Okay.
For
okay.
Sure.
And doing it differently, meaning you would not be as and I have said this publicly too. If I was in his position, I would do it a little different. I would still tell the truth, but I would do it a little different. I wouldn't be with the spear on fire through the heart. And I'm noticing that he's not as aggressive as he used to be. He's not, you know, he's not perfect, but he's definitely softening up a little bit. So hopefully maybe he's, you know, maybe people are getting in his ear and saying, hey man, if you want to get a TV deal or you want to get a Netflix deal, you're going to have to soften up a little bit.
Let's be honest though. That's what sells. Like that's what people love. People love shame. People are attracted to shame. They're attracted to people who being made fun of. You know.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna say it like this. People are attracted to conflict. So when they see conflict, they will naturally, because you're going to, like, if you see two people fighting across the street, you're going to look over there and see what's happening, right?
Yeah.
People are attracted to conflict because our nature is peaceful.
Yeah.
So we're comfortable when
it's
peaceful.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to go soon. I told myself I'll stay as long until my battery.
Yes, sir.
But hey, thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys, and keep me posted, Clarence.
Yeah, man. Hopefully, man. You know, we do this every Sunday, man. You know, you are welcome to come and just sit in and come in and, you know, tell us that we crazy, we out of our heads about something, whatever, man.
Y'all been on this earth for a long time. So even if I don't agree or see, I always tell my wife this when we get into it. I always think about the conversations I have with people because I know that you guys have seen things and you've experienced things, and I really value that. So I'm probably gonna replay this in my mind, like, you know, oh shoot. Over and over.
Okay, brother. Let you go, man. We'll let you handle your business, man. We'll talk to you later, okay?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. All right. Brother Jarvis.
Yes, sir.
Whoo.
Yes, sir. That's that to be said. That's it for me.
All right, I gotta wrap up some stuff, so I'll let you go too, brother, and I'll talk to you later, okay? You gotta go. If you can stay,
sir.
Can you stay or are you going to go?
I got a roll, big boy.
You got what?
I got a roll.
Okay, brother. I'll talk to you later.
I got a roll.
All right. So that was Brother Jarvis and Brother Terrell. And so our topic today was, is Campbell Samuel dangerous? I asked Brother Terrell to come on to the podcast so that he could let us know what he was thinking. And you know, he presented his argument well. I pushed him a little more than he probably was expecting me to, because I'm the kind of person, man, I need a clear example of what you're saying. so that I can know whether I'm with you or not with you. If it's a vague situation, I don't know if I'm with you or not. That's why I kept telling him, I don't know if I agree with you because you haven't clearly defined it to me, to my acceptance, what you're talking about. So I can't say I agree with you or I disagree with you. I have a problem because you're not fully defining it. If you out there want us to talk about particular topics, hit us up in an email or hit us up with something else. We had this discussion every Tuesday. This was kind of off because we had a guest and then one of the other guests had power problems. So we got kind of started kind of late and then we ran kind of long. But hey, man, we out here and we trying to get it done, get it in. So before I go, because I'm going to go, let me finish. Let me do a couple other things. We got your money and Bank of America. Bank of America has home buying grants. You can get up to $17,000 in home buying grants. You go to bankofamerica.com and you can see these down payment assistance grants and the closing cost of grants, their home purchase grants, and their 3% down grants for affordable home loan solution mortgage fixed rate loans. So you can go there, go to Bank of America while this money is still available, man. Don't be like black people and wait till the last minute. Go out there and get that money. Go out there and get that money, right? Your money. We also got the job of the day. The job of the day is an electrician. What is an electrician? An electrician is a tradesman specializing in electrical wiring of buildings, transmission lines, stationary machines, and related equipment. Electricians may be employed in the installation of new electrical components or the maintenance and repair of electrical infrastructure. The median pay is $51,000 a year. And all you need to enter into this business is a high school diploma or equivalent. So, I mean, there's 628,000 jobs in the electrical, in being an electrician. So, I mean, man, every week we try to bring a job on that you guys can check out. All you need is a high school diploma to enter into anyone. And here's how you do it, because I work in the electrical field. This is what you do. You go up to the IBEW, and you go there and you get information on how you can get started as an electrician. I'm going to have another job for you next week too, so you guys can look there. But look that up, the electrician. What else I have for you guys here? We got the old school set here. The old school set is Anticipation by the Barcades. Go check that song out, man. That's a song from it's a master blaster, man. I think next week we're gonna talk about, can a promiscuous woman or single mom be restored and her sexual market value raised? We wanted to get to that today, but we didn't get to it. We were just kind of a little off, man. You know what I mean? So, I had a guest on today so next week we'll be back on track, man. We'll be back in the mix. Final thoughts. Anybody who wants to send me a private chat. Okay. Yeah. So anybody wants to send a comment, you can comment, whatever. But I'm gonna just wrap it up with the final thoughts. The final thought is, brother, don't listen to nobody. Check everybody out, even Kevin Samuels, whoever, Jordan Peterson. We talked about Kevin Samuels. We talked about Jordan Peterson. Anybody out here that's telling you, that's giving you advice, even me, check us out. See if what we talking about, go through our pages and see if what we talking about is the real thing, man. If we trying to run game over here, we trying to run game, then you in your right to not mess with us. But we ain't trying to run no game over here, man. We trying to help the people. And if they want the help, if they don't want the help, then we understand. But until next week, those of you out there that's watching us, man, the best podcast to be able to lay down, relax, and go to sleep to is the Better Black Life Podcast. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.